This episode of the One Piece podcast is sponsored by Kolektakon, your source for One Piece Mega House merchandise.
Check them out at the web at kolektakon.com/onepiece.
This is the unofficial One Piece podcast, episode 319 for the week of Monday, May 26th, 2014. My name is Zach.
And my name is Ed.
And my name is Steve.
We have a packed house today, guys. On today's episode, we have special guest from SModcast and Bagged and Boarded. We have Matt Cohen. Hey, Matt.
Hello, friends.
How's everything going?
Good. Thank you for having me back again.
No, it's every time it's been a lot of fun having you on.
It's my one outlet, guys. It's all I live for.
So yeah, and anytime, you're always welcome to.
Thank you.
If you need to talk some One Piece. We also have very special guest translator for One Piece in Weekly Shonen Jump. We have Steven. Hey, Steven.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Nothing. How's it going?
Good.
Good. And it's been a really long time, but we have our West Coast correspondents. We have Jammer.
Hey, everybody.
And we have Dominic.
Don't forget about me.
I already did.
Damn.
Who? Hey, this cast is more than half West Coast this week. So
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
and happy birthday, dude. Oh wait, you said Jammer. Sorry.
Yeah, don't give Jammer any birthday wishes.
So how's it been going with you guys?
Fuck all you guys. That was terrible.
Cool. Okay.
That's how it's been going.
And Steve, you were at Anime Central last week, right?
I twas.
How was that?
It was cool. I mean, ASEN's a really good con. That was like my first bigger con that I did a panel solo, and holy shit, it was a lot of fun. It just it flew by. It was like I was doing stand up that pertained to a very, very small audience. Yeah. But it was cool, a lot of fun. I decided there wasn't really a whole lot of news that week, and Unlimited World Red's coming out, so I did a short thing about kind of like what we did with the movies at AWA.
Right.
I think about the unlimited video game series, and that was fun. And I played the trailer and the Otakon
cool trailer.
panel. You had the fangirls. And just everyone, wooing and eyeing and cheering for some of the characters that showed up. It was a great crowd. It was definitely one of the more outspoken crowds at ASEN over the years. It was, I got nothing but positive things to say about it. And to any of you guys that listened, that came to my table, thanks for coming. Thanks for buying some prints and stuff. It was a good time.
Did you talk about the Shishibukai?
I did not talk about it.
Okay.
Because go to hell.
Sorry. We also had a really special showing of, well, they're all special showings, of the One Piece podcast goes to Japan at Anime North in Toronto. Huge thanks.
And none
we're
of
there
us
by
were there.
proxy.
Yeah.
None of us were there. Daniel Venard, I apologize if I'm mispronouncing your name. He was there. You could find him on Twitter at
Was it
Daniel
the new
J.
cut?
Venard. It was the new cut. They are the first people who've seen the final version of the movie. If you guys were there, please tweet your thoughts. Hashtag OPP Japan. We're all done with it. Jose even cut a new trailer. We are still waiting for that thumbs up, and then we will put it out as soon as we possibly can.
And apparently there was some panel that had the words One Piece and podcast.
Well, that's what it was. It was the OPP Japan showing.
Oh, that's what it was.
Yeah, that's what it was. There's your answer right there. One Piece, the podcast was One Piece,
I'm
the
listening
podcast.
to last week's episode. I'm like, how dare they? How dare they use our name?
Yeah, I knew we had submitted it for Anime North, but I was a little confused because it was called One Piece, the podcast, but that's what it is. We also had Dennis Ichnob. He was at Fanime. He hosted a panel for us. Hope you guys enjoyed that. I think we're going to be having Dennis on a little more, so hopefully he'll be on next week or the week after to talk about that a little bit more. But huge thanks to him. Hope you went to the cosplay gathering there in San Jose. I'm sure it was a lot of fun. We'll also be at Anime Expo. A lot of us will. Steve, you'll be there, right?
Yes.
Jammer will be there some of the time.
Yeah, there's like a 99% chance.
That's a high chance.
That 1% can always rear its ugly head, but
I will be there as well, actually.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
we should meet up. Meet up.
And Dominic will be there also.
Yeah, I'll be there the whole week.
There'll be, I think, from what Josh was saying, it sounds like there could be some cool One Piece stuff there. So keep your ears and eyes to the ground. I don't know how you could keep your eyes to the ground. That might not work.
It's the dumbest thing you've ever said, Zach.
Really? Really?
No, probably not.
No,
don't worry
it
about
definitely isn't.
Somehow he always finds a way to overdone it. He always.
Overdone myself. Yes, Dominic. Thank you.
Well put, Dominic.
Thanks. Matt, it's nice to have you on, and you are going to, if you haven't been listening to Bagged and Boarded, you may not know, but you're going to be going to Japan next month.
Yeah, it's my second trip in a year, actually. My last trip was in October, and they couldn't keep me away, legally or in any other way. So, yeah, I'm headed back, and I'm super excited. I hit a lot of One Piece sites on my last trip that I kind of knocked off my list, so I kind of really don't know what I'm going to be doing this time in terms of just maybe hanging out, hopefully.
Well, we've got a guy who could probably find something for you.
Yeah, I'm sure
that'd be nice.
Yeah.
That would definitely be nice. I went to Osaka last time to go to that One Piece bar, and he knew all about you fellas. So if you got any more tips out there, let me know.
There's also, I think there's one other bar, and well, look, we'll write that all down for you.
Yeah, okay. Much obliged.
And you also talked a bit about Japan on your last podcast, right?
Yeah, the last episode I did, Bagged and Boarded is a show I do over at SModcast, and two friends of mine who live in Japan actually do a podcast called God Faded Japan, Johnny and Shank, and it's a weekly show they do, both video and audio, where they just talk about like crazy Japanese news stories. That's basically the show. They go through the news and they just talk about all the insanity happening in their country. So I chatted with them just about, if you guys didn't know, I'm obsessed with Japan and particularly like daily life there. So I just kind of shot the proverbial breeze with them about what it's like to be a gaijin in Japan full time.
I think you're in good company with the Japanophiles here. I think that's accurate.
It's true. Yeah.
Did you have anything else?
No, just generally excited about One Piece. I'm starting a new podcast on my own network actually in the next month or so, and.
Nice.
Yeah, there's no episodes up right now. We've been stockpiling a bunch because I just know my schedule is going to be crazy this summer. But you can go. It's on iTunes now if you want to subscribe. It's called the Wayback Pod, and it's me and my friend Sean, who's been on Bagged and Boarded a bunch. And every week we sit down with a guest, whether they be a celebrity or just a friend of ours, and the guest comes up with a list of 5 things they loved when they were a kid. And we basically just talk about childhood nostalgia for an hour, and it's been really fun so far.
Oh, wow.
The Wayback Pod.
Yeah, so look out for that. Look out for that, yo.
No, it sounds great.
That's
Thanks,
a cool
guys.
idea. I mean, Steve does that all the time anyway. So yeah, we have a packed podcast this week, and we'll also be having a special podcast this Saturday. So tune in for that. Make sure you're subscribed on iTunes so you get that right away. This week, though, we have a manga recap of the really enjoyable chapter 748. We have an anime recap of episode 646.
How enjoyable was it?
What, the anime?
Yeah, the manga was really
moderately
enjoyable.
It was
Okay,
moderately
It
enjoyable.
left off on a high note this week.
It wasn't that bad. Yeah, it was okay. We also have a Toonami recap for anime episode 255. A little less so there. I guess we're going down each step here. We also have some Piece Together, some news, and a little segment celebrating our 5th anniversary doing this.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you. It's been way too long. And we'll be doing this until we're at least 40 if we do it till the end of the series. So we got that going.
Odo's like halfway done.
You say it jokingly, but it's kind of sad. It's going to be true, right?
We'll be in our. It depends who we're talking about here.
I'll be over 40. Yeah, I'm 30 now, and what Oda said it's halfway done. So what, like another 15 years probably?
I think the latest statistic
We're past
was,
halfway, but yeah.
The latest statistic was 10 to 12 years.
Okay,
So
yeah,
I'll
be 40.
Yeah. Okay, so before we turn 40, let's get into the next segment. Let's start the podcast. I messed that
Good
up.
segue.
Thank you. This is the anime recap for episode 646, The Legendary Pirate Don Chin Zhao. We start here with Gyatz giving his own recap of the latest episode after the regular recap, so in case you missed it again.
Yeah, it's new footage if it's displayed on a big screen.
That's true. Next, Lucy runs after Jean the Bandit. Meanwhile,
Jean Ango.
Meanwhile,
His voice is awesome. I wasn't on last week's episode, so I didn't get to talk about that. I love his Seiyu.
Yeah, it's a lot different than everyone else there.
It's not just some guy going, "Oh, I'm a guy. I'm gonna fight you," like everyone else. He's got a little bit of like a cackle to him.
Twang, maybe.
I didn't say Zork.
I have a question. Do they ever talk about his attack names in the manga too much? Because I don't remember him too much in the manga. About the whole charitable donation thing, which was hilarious.
He's got the nicest attack names. Charitable donation. Pat on the back. Good for you.
So Luffy's running after Jean. Don Chin Zhao is running after
Strong World
Lucy.
soundtrack.
What?
To the Strong World soundtrack.
To the Strong World soundtrack, yeah. Somehow Don Chin Zhao loses Luffy though, and then John Chin Zhao. No, I'm sorry. Then John the Bandit and Lucy.
John Chin Zhao.
John Chin Zhao. They have a little bit of a standoff. It's like, I know who you are. You're a Straw Hat Luffy, and he's like, yes. No, wait, I'm not. Never mind. Meanwhile, Kelly Funk is still railing on. Was it just some random person? I forget.
I think at this point it was just other people.
Yeah.
I think Boo was already defeated.
I think he was knocked unconscious, yeah. And we see some old man have a flashback as to what occurred. Some random guy.
I'll give you the exposition.
And it was not quite a fusion dance. It was a jacket fruit.
This was disturbing. I was just thinking of fucking Hannibal the entire time.
For anyone that,
Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah, for anyone that was ever like, oh man, maybe they should make a One Piece live action movie. I'm like, yeah, I want Kelly Funk to be in it, just so you could regret that decision. Like, oh God.
Oh, it's disgusting. It's everywhere.
Yeah, he's neither Kelly Funk or Bobby Funk. He's Cobby. He's Cobby Funk.
Bali? Belly? Well, that actually works. We talked about this, Steve, the Venture Brothers kind of jacket thing. Although we never got to make that reference.
Yellow.
For me, this whole thing was more disturbing with just how the sound effects, how loud they were when he was like zipping him up and just the whoosh clothing sound. It was disturbing to me. It reminded me of Silence of the Lambs, as I said earlier. I was expecting Goodbye Horses to start playing.
And so
Would you fuck me, Bobby? I'd fuck me.
And we
start saying that.
And that's how that happened. Is basically.
I should point out that the jacket fruit completely useless if you don't have a sibling or a best friend.
Yeah, or somebody who's willing to go inside you.
It's like Megatron turning into a gun. If he doesn't have like a Starscream to hold him, what's the point?
Can you imagine him going to a freaking opponent, going like, "All right, I'm fucking check this out. All right, just hop inside me really quick," and then he won't be able to.
Who wants to team up? Anybody? Any takers? Team me, the weakling. Unless I combine with you, you could just hit me with one punch and I'm out. Anyone? Any takers?
So Kelly was rampaging until Sai comes in and kind of just kicks his ass.
Yeah, I kind of just I rolled my eyes at Sai's speech. It's like, oh yeah, in order to learn a martial arts technique, he had to stop caring about his brother. Yet he is avenging him.
Well, he's avenging his subordinate, which I guess is the loophole there.
I guess, yeah, you could argue that. It's like, yeah, in order to master this martial arts technique, I had to have no family to care about, no ties at all. But God damn it, if you touch my secretary, I will destroy you.
Then Hideo comes after Sai, saying...
Well, you forget the part with Gats, fanboying.
Oh, yeah.
Now he has hearts in his eyes. Oh, yeah, they reused the animation. But now he's got hearts in his eyes. And what are you trying to tell us, Gats?
He has a thing for two guys fighting.
He has a thing with a guy wearing another guy, being inside of the guy.
Well, he didn't know that's what happened. Only the old guys saw it. Meanwhile, Hideo comes after Sai saying it's no doubt that he's the strongest on the block, or something along those lines. And then I think Sai basically I think he says the Crunchyroll said, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I thought that was weird. I was like, hello, fan subs.
It's like, oh, wow, I forgot. I was watching the Manga Panda version. Manga Panda.
Manga Panda.
I'm from Japan.
Don't they use the same stream that's on the One Piece official?
I think it's the same.
It's the same translation.
Okay. It's a weird, odd choice. Yeah.
But using the F word, my only response to that is, what the fuck?
Yeah, that was bizarre. It just reminded me of this in the manga where they go like, "You gotta be fucking shitting me!" Like back in when they used to do what's it called, scanlations. When I used to read those.
You forgot the word scanlation.
What? Yeah, I did. It's been a long time, Zach.
I believe you.
It's like, have you ever seen an episode of SpongeBob Sailor Talk?
No.
Like that's
a
pretty.
thing?
That's pretty much like a scanlation of One Piece. Hey Usopp, how the fuck are you? Pretty fucking good, Luffy. And scanlators, I'm like, oh man, this is so awesome.
This is so adult right now. I'm so mature for watching this.
Oh man,
This is totally not a kid's manga.
totally not. Totally not.
We
the song "Family" does not exist.
we take
And if it does exist, I'll translate it to have the word "fuck" in it.
fucking family.
That's
Okay.
because we are fucking family.
That guy who didn't like us swearing probably does not like this segment. But look, we're talking about something that happened.
A point here. Just how unfitting is it for One Piece?
We're criticizing it.
I don't care what character it is. It could be even the trashiest character in One Piece. It's still One Piece. There's no cursing to this extent.
It's a bit weird.
We take a brief detour to the Thousand Arts Sunny. That's the best pun I could come up with, and it's not that good.
It's not even a pun.
It's barely anything.
Yeah, there's no pun in there. You just stuck in the word art. You pulled a Jola and just snuck an art in there somehow.
Right. I mean, that's what I was trying to do. Nami is running away from Giola's ship. Meanwhile, Brooke and Chopper and the Sarks emerge, and they also disappear.
And Brooke is indeed a wacky waving, inflatable arm waving tube man.
He is.
Not much different than the audience in the Coliseum.
Yeah.
And
It's rare to hear a Family Guy reference on this.
Well, he was already a wacky waving, inflatable arm waving tube man in OPP Japan. So,
Oh yeah, he was an actual. You'll see that.
he was an actual one, but it's nice to see that in the show. He
might be in one of the trailers. Yeah. Anyway, so Nami uses her. They called it Thunderbreed tempo. Do they mean Thunderbolt? And Brooke calls out for Luffy, and we get a cool transition back to the Coliseum. It was like through his skull because he has no eyes.
We see a giant ball mass of just metal stuff, and I was like, "Oh my god,
Yeah.
kid's back!"
And we cut to commercial, and we get back, and he says, "I made so much money in the last 2 years thanks to all the prisoners you set free from Impel Down." And he then goes 5 minutes to name each member of the breakout crew from Impel Down.
Mr. 3 did not get a mention.
No, because he sucks.
Yeah, but
No one really cares about him.
He's okay in that.
Buggy, Jinbei, Sir Crocodile, the Queen of Queers.
Really quick, let's go back. Going back to Buggy, here's my question. Okay, was he mentioned at all in the manga of this chapter?
Yeah, no, in this chapter, I think they all were mentioned.
Because I'm saying that because it almost is like, oh, well, then he's not a warlord if he's trying to hunt him.
No, I think he was just running down.
I think he was just running
list
down
of
who was,
the escape.
Okay. All
sorry.
right.
And hey, oh yeah, that's right. He did get appointed to the warlords very quick. Yeah, the Queen of Queers. I forgot about that old translation.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they're still
Queers never
using
die.
it. Yeah. Queers never die. That's
Can
true.
you guys think of a better translation other than queer?
Crossdresser.
Just cross-dresser?
Yeah. No, say
Okama
say
Gamesphere.
Okama,
No,
Nakama,
shut up. It's terrible.
Yosh, and fuck, and all the other skins.
Okay, that's Nakama. You said that one already, didn't you?
Yes.
So yeah, all the level 6ers, and as Luffy is dodging the attacks, he's like, I wonder how they're doing. Jinbei, what did he say? Jinbei and...
Well, it's been like 2 days since I've seen Jinbei. I wonder how he's doing.
Well, he also said Ivankov, I think.
Yeah, like Ivankov has been a while, but freaking Jinbei, like, you like just saw him.
Yeah, it was not that... I mean, in his timeline, it was a week ago. I mean, I'm sure
Timeline
it's
it was
fine.
forever ago.
Yeah. That's why I don't expect to see Jinbei right away, because it was like a week ago. I mean, it's going to take a little while.
Well, maybe Jinbei just said, give me a week to decide.
Oh, great. That's going to be in like 10 years in our time. Anyway, Luffy dodges all the attacks, and it goes on forever.
It was really funny how they did that.
Yeah, I mean, it was very Looney Tunes-ish.
Yeah, it was great. And then, like, when he ran out and everything, that whole scene was really great, especially the punchline at the end when he takes back his helmet. Very well done.
Well, I love just the fact that, it hits Don Shinjiao, and he's just like, oops. Or really, that's where he should be swearing, and he should just be saying, shit.
And he's got them Moe eyes going on.
Which was hilarious.
Did I do that?
And Luffy takes his helmet, and then John just gets his ass kicked out of the ring by Don Shinjiao. Meanwhile, this is where I wrote this. Gyatso really has a thing for Sai and Hideo, fighting blow for blow. That's what I wrote. Don Shinjiao then proclaims that he lost his memory, his power, and his treasure from Garp. And then things get quiet. And this was a really cool... I think the directing in this episode was pretty cool. It was a lot different than what we've seen in a while. No music plays. Luffy gets like, okay, time to get serious for whatever reason. This is the time I'm getting serious. Then some music plays, and Luffy gets second gear, gets ready to fight. As they head toward each other, Luffy punches Sai, kicks him out of the ring. Don Shinjiao punches Hideo, kicks him out of the ring. Sorry, I hit my mic. I was so excited.
He was pulling a Gyatso and just reenacting it.
I can't believe it! And then the last two people left in the ring are the two hockey users, the two Conquerors hockey users, Luffy and Don Shinjiao, who do some really DBZ-ish moves here. What do you guys think?
I don't know. I didn't care for it. Like, it had like all the sound effects and stuff. I was like, oh, DBZ. I don't know if I want this.
Yeah, it was a little much, but Steve, Dominic?
Yeah,
I didn't watch this episode, so I don't have anything to say on it.
Well, you could make something up.
Jesus, pulling a fire crouch here.
Yeah, what are you doing?
Well, I saw it, and I don't know. I felt like I was just getting through this episode. I enjoyed last week's a lot, but this one I was like, oh, okay. It's an episode.
Yeah, I'll talk about my whole thoughts when we reach the end, but yeah.
Well, we are at the end, so this is
this is the time? Okay. Yeah. Basically, my whole thought on the episode. There we go. Thank you, Dominic. I'm not used to actually speaking anymore. That I liked it as I was watching it, but it just felt like, why are we spending so much time on this?
And the manga did kind of feel like that at the time. I think in retrospect, I enjoy this kind of stuff more. I think, Steve, you were mentioning that last time you were on.
I don't know. For me, in retrospect, I almost enjoy it less because stuff that I don't want to talk about.
Wow, that was personal.
Well, I can talk... No. I can talk about it in the manga. But
okay, there you go. Steve? No?
That pretty much just summed up how I felt. Like, I didn't enjoy it too much.
All right.
I had fun watching it though. Like the first half, I enjoyed. It was fun.
Yeah, I agree. The second half is when I was kind of just like, all right, come on.
Yeah, that's when I started.
I thought the John the Bandit stuff was probably the best stuff in this, and the funk thing was a little ridiculous, but yeah.
Well, his power is ridiculous. It's a zipper.
Well, that was entertaining.
It was entertaining. Yeah, I love the old man. Just
silly power.
I don't think it's funny. Like in my,
let me tell you the tale of the funks. Bobby, put me on.
I think it's funny in my mind. For some reason, I keep wanting to call Jean-Claude Van Bandit, which makes no sense. But I like to think that that's what Oda was thinking, even though it totally wasn't.
It's definitely no.
Go.
On that note, again, why don't we go into the next segment? You guys ready?
See.
Move on.
I'll be ready for the first half, not so much the second half.
This is the Toonami Recap for episode 255. Another sea train, Rocket Man charges forth. Before we get started, Steve, you want to let us know the ratings for last week?
Sure, for May 17th. One Piece got about 847,000 viewers, bringing in a household rating of 0.6.
So the number's way up, but the household I think is the same.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And,
it still says though that One Piece was in the number one in their respective time period for the target age group.
That's really what's important too. Yeah. Because remember, it's 1:30 a.m. And Dominic, you were saying, "Wow, that's a big, that's a drop, from what it used to get at 1 a.m., which is not in the higher 900s. I mean, sometimes 800 wasn't that bad, but it's also compared to who's watching. And if there's not a lot of people watching at 1:30, 847 could be good." Trending wise, for those who didn't know, Dragon Ball Z, Cooler's Revenge was on, and they trended like everything, like every character in DBZ. One Piece, though, trended at number 7. Impel Down trended at number 5. That's really cool. And again, Sanji trended at number 6. Those are all in the U.S. There were no other trends other than the fact that they had the normal big increase when it was on. So no worldwide and no mobile this week. But it's really cool that Impel Down and Sanji both trended.
So I have a question.
Yes.
Cooler's Revenge, did they air the version with like Deftones and Disturbed? Or whatever bands they had in the music? Damn it. I have such a guilty pleasure with that version.
Well, I think Cooler's Revenge did air before on the Saturday Night Toonami, and I think that version did air, of course.
Beautiful.
That was before the Blu-rays were released with the Japanese score. Yeah, I didn't really watch Cooler's Revenge. I caught it at the end, but Jesus, the end, it was enough for me to remind myself, oh yeah, man, this campy superhero bullshit dialogue. Why do you keep having to hurt people? I decide who lives and dies. I'm pretty sure in the Japanese version, all what they're saying is, stop, I'm Goku. No, I'm stronger than you.
That's not much better.
Well, I'll talk to you about Dragon Ball. No, well, here's the thing about Dragon Ball.
Oh, God.
Sorry.
Goku
What did you do, Jammer?
Goku just cares about fighting. And when someone's a dick, he cares about stopping them with fighting. Not this, I am the light in the darkness shit.
Yeah, he doesn't.
In case anyone was wondering.
Let's get into the episode. I thought the animation or art was pretty horrendous in this episode. I don't know what you guys all caught in this. In this one.
It's their Triangle Man.
Yeah, it's their Triangle Man.
Though he's not his stuff isn't terrible. I mean, usually like the characters, they don't look completely off model, but they're very stagnant.
Yeah. Yeah, so we start out with the line from Polly, sorry, I can't pull another sea train out of my ass. And then Nami goes through, the history lesson. Enies Lobby is where the gates of justice are located. We get the opening, we come back, and she continues her explanation. Enies Lobby is a judicial island, but it's for show. You get walked through into an empty room, and then you go through these giant gates of justice that presumably are larger than the island itself. And those gates of justice only leads to 2 places, Marine Headquarters or Impel Down, which we're getting a lot of mention from this week.
I wonder if we'll ever go there.
Yeah. Or either of those places. Luffy still says that, I don't care, let's just get a ship, get our crew, and as he says it, a giant wave comes by just to enunciate.
And if you don't take my word for it, let this metaphor do the talking.
And they comment on it, saying like, "Oh, even the waves are, angry about this." And they're ready to fight because Polly's like, "You're an idiot. You're going to die if you do that. Then we'll steal a ship." And then Kokoro is like, "Wait, I have my own sea train. Let's just go there." Meanwhile, on the Puffing Tom, Sanji I love this gag. Sanji walks through a car with government soldiers. No one really pays him any mind. And then they notice, wait a second, he's not part of us. And then they all get their asses handed to them. Meanwhile, Usopp and Frankie are there. But before they could really engage in a conversation, do you remember these guys at all before seeing this? They're the twins?
No, they're not in the manga.
Oh, okay, they're not. I kind of
you can tell
like the
because
line,
they're super lame.
They're really lame. And they said...
they're like the twins from Cobra and G.I. Joe.
But
Hi, we complete each other's sentences.
But this is the best back and forth. I mean, I don't know why this dialogue hasn't happened before. They said, "Do you think we're going to let you get away with that?" And Sanji just responds, "If you're smart," and then kicks them through the roof because they're not. Because they're filler. And he notices they're transponder snails. That's fantastic. I could contact Nami, that normal thing. And then he sees his ex-friend, Usopp. I don't believe we've ever met, is what he says to him.
Never heard of him before. He's an ass.
But then he kicks Frankie when he realizes who he is for what he did to Usopp. And then they all start fighting and making a lot of ruckus. So someone in the other car takes notice. I think they say it's Captain T-Bone. I don't think that's a spoiler. I think we got a commercial break.
God forbid we know his name.
God forbid. Don't even. Yeah. So we come back from the commercial break, back on Water 7, and we head to a room with the Rocket Man, but the door was already open. Iceberg is who opened it. Yeah, that's all there is there. And I love how Kokoro says, "You've been through a lot. You should rest." He's been shot like 10 times. How is he even walking besides the bandages? Which I guess we've talked about. And he explains that the Rocket Man, you can't really control the speed of it. It's just a runaway ship. And meanwhile, Steve's favorite conductor pair bring Luffy some meat because he was feeling like he needed some meat. And he was very hangry about it. I don't know if you guys have noticed. And then he immediately apologizes when he figures out what's in the bag. I like that gag. That was a fun gag. Yeah. Then the Frankie family comes in and begs for the Straw Hats' help, and he's like, "Sure, whatever." And they're like, "Okay, we're gonna go get our King Bulls then and leave right away," which was a funny little gag. And then the train takes off. Luffy sits on top, the normal thing, and off to the next episode. What did you guys think of this one?
Hey, we made the decision to go out to sea.
Yep.
It was an episode. That's about it.
That's true. It was an episode.
Whenever One Piece episodes are in this sort of territory, they all kind of blend together into a mishmash, so they're never really that good by themselves.
Yeah, I agree. Especially these Water 7 episodes are slightly slower until we get into the thick of the Sea Train stuff, which is a lot of fun.
It's all about build-up.
Yeah.
Keep them coming back for more.
Yeah, we're getting into a cool part pretty soon. All right. I guess that's everything, right?
See.
Are we almost into your favorite opening?
Oh, Brand New World? No,
yeah.
We got, I think, 11 episodes? Were we 255? I think it's 263. So 8 episodes. We're getting there. I think it's 263. I'm not positive.
I feel like that opening is so super short, there's no way that they should be able to shorten it. But I know they will.
No, it's a minute and a half.
It just seems it's way quicker when I watch it, though.
Well, they're going to shorten it because there's no way that's what they do.
Yeah, they used to be a minute 50, and then they went to 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
They were a minute and a half. Sometimes they were a little longer. And then now they're 2:30.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Well, they don't have endings anymore after.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I like the endings.
No, they're fine. Actually, it is something to watch on top of just the to be continued, and then whatever that legal shit that's at the end of each episode.
That legal shit that's at the end of each episode.
You know what I'm talking about?
The disclaimer at the bottom.
The stuff at the bottom at the very end. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, the disclaimer.
It's not. It's not. That's it.
You and me, Dominic. You and me, Dominic.
Yeah.
Talking down on Jammer here legally. Okay. Let's get into the next segment. This episode of the unofficial One Piece podcast is sponsored by Kolektakon, your source for One Piece Mega House merchandise. We are here to announce the winner of the Kolektakon contest to win a Doflamingo POP. And I have to say that this was a very, very, very difficult decision. And just because we didn't want to be here until the crack of dawn, we came up with a decision. And
we decided on that decision. And that decision has been decided.
And the winner of that decision is Jacob10. We will put the GIF on the description so that maybe there's not as much...
Jacob 10, it was decided.
Maybe there's not as much stress behind waiting to hear that, but for his Eneru arc Maxim, you know, we're a little afraid of the pandering, but it's okay.
Well, no, you know what? Let me just say this.
Okay.
I feel that out of all the ones I've seen, all these gifts, this was actually the best one. In my opinion, I thought this was the best one that we saw there.
And
none of the other ones could really match up to it.
It was completely up to
Dominic,
Dominic.
be a total douche to everyone else. You know, this one was the best, and all the other ones were just an embarrassment. Why do you even try? No, there was actually a lot of ones that I did like, but it seemed like the Eneru one just had the strongest reaction out of all of us.
It's
for
both
me-
freaky and well done. It's very freaky.
It was simple and effective in its execution.
I do want to give some shout-outs to runner-ups that gave some real run for the money there. Posisen put together some really incredible-looking GIFs with art of all the major villains. Hey, Eneru was in there as well. Check that one out, definitely. We'll put the links to these. We'll put the links to all of these, of course, in the description. Steve, you had a favorite there. One of your favorites there.
Oh, yes. That was the shot from the anime of Violet when she's sitting in the chair with her hand, you know, pulling her hair back. And, you know, of course, you see her massive boobage.
Like, unnatural.
Unnatural, massive anime boobage. And it just cut to Usopp's face from when the Tontadas told them that they were going to go take down Doflamingo, the bug-eyed. So it turned from a look of fear to damn.
That one's from Super Paraphernalia, and I think the swirly eyebrows was definitely a hit with us as well. That's from Loving Dofla Swan. It's mesmerizing. It's definitely mesmerizing. I didn't realize how much swirl was in One Piece. Yeah, so check those all out. Just search the hashtag OPPXCollecticon. I think we'll be doing more of these in the future, so don't get discouraged. There'll be a lot more chances as long as Kolektakon's still with us. They seemed interested in doing more, so check them out at kolektakon.com/OnePiece. Support them, and you could have the chance maybe, you know, of more contests like this happening in the future. Tell your friends that you heard from the One Piece podcast to buy your POPs from Kolektakon. With that, you ready to get back into the show, guys?
No.
This is the Manga Recap for Chapter 748, Repaying the Debt. Ed, what is going on this page?
Well, Zach, before we get to that, I want to talk about the author comments this week.
I forgot about this.
Yeah. So, Oda writes this week, because of Ryo Nakama, I keep wanting to use samurai dialogue. Damn you, Ryo Nakama. Anyway, so I think he's excited about writing stuff for like Wano characters.
Yeah, I look forward.
It could be that. Well, it's partially because of Isobe, which is like it's the current kind of gag series that is big in Jump, where everything looks like ukiyo-e art, and the guy has a very like weird kind of old-fashioned speaking style, and so Oda was saying, "Oh yeah, damn, now I'm like using this in my everyday life sort of thing." And the kind of funny thing was that in his comment he goes like, what's the guy like Nakama Ryo, and then in that guy's comment he goes Eiichiro Oda. So they're like playing off of each other. It's pretty funny.
So yeah, what's going on the front page? Because I feel like we really do need explanation here.
Well, Zach, on the first page we have Heracleson riding a white horse, and he's acting all cool and shit.
Mm-hmm. Totally not like any historical figure. Just being completely original, being cool.
Vladimir Putin, guys.
Well, no, he does have a shirt on, so
Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough.
He's not wading through a river
I'm glad
hunting
he has a shirt on. Yeah.
Do we know that?
hunting a bear.
And who was this idea submitted by?
Noda Skywalker, the infamous
Skywalker. Is like Noda like the only one like submitting
these?
ideas?
Yeah.
I mean, clearly Oda knows all of these people.
Yeah, it's similar to like in the volumes when they have the illustrations for the titles of all the SBS corners, like because I have to translate all of those to put all the names in there. There are people who show up like in every volume, sometimes multiple times. So it's just one of those things where I think he has some pet favorites of submissions.
Mm-hmm. So he's just sort of galloping down the jungle path there, and that's really all that's happening on the page.
Believe it or not, it's not the only white horse we see in this chapter.
Nicely drawn flora and fauna, or mostly flora.
Thank you, Ed.
Okay, so on the first page of the actual chapter here, we have Luffy laughing his ass off at Pika, just sort of all over, just no regard for Pika whatsoever.
Well, why would he?
Yeah. And Pika is sort of rumbling. He's going,
Pika just look, Picha, sorry.
Picha. Well, that works, actually.
Is it Picha or Pika? The world may never know.
Picha is the de-evolved form of Pika.
Look at his eyes. Look at his eyes.
He looks like second form Cell. This should have happened in Dragon Ball. If I could talk about Dragon Ball again forever.
My God, no.
He's a fire in his laser. And he's just sort of growling at Luffy, and the underlings are basically, they're exposition underlings. Pika is super sensitive about his high-pitched voice, but so now he's gonna start raging. I want to see like Pika going on a rage, like rage dancing. It'd be hilarious. He's swinging his arms everywhere, like
in an empty warehouse, dancing to Kenny Loggins or whatever.
Drinking beer.
So angry.
Close up on Pika's eye, and you see him pull his fist back, and Mach-Vice says, "Run for it! It's going to level the whole town." And
well, no, he says an entire town is coming for us because he's made of the actual town.
Not pictured Dellinger, whose foot is still caught up Mach-Vice's ass.
He's just being dragged behind him.
It's really in there.
And Fujitora says there's trouble afoot. What?
No, he's getting the feeling there's trouble afoot. I'm not positive that there's giant attacking us.
Yeah, a stone giant is coming, Admiral.
I say there's trouble hand.
You got to give.
Yeah.
You got to cut Fujitora some slack. He can't see the giant. So.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Zoro chides Luffy for taunting his opponents, but Luffy's like, "You're laughing. Shut up."
Wait, is the part with Fujitora actually a blind gag? Because it actually looks like one now. No pun intended. Keep going. Sorry, Ed.
I don't know. And anyway, here comes the fist, and we go to the next page.
And on the next page, we have in my opinion, one of the coolest drawings Oda's done in a while, and probably the reason he only sleeps like 2 hours a night. Because look at the freaking detail on this hand. It's Pico's hand, not foot, you're right, it would have been a funnier joke, and crushing down on the town, and it's Luffy and Zoro and assorted other fellows getting basically knocked the F away, and Pico standing triumphant.
It's an incredible panel.
It's incredible, and I might be way off, but it kind of does remind me of maybe not the woodcut, but more traditional Japanese art with just the lines and stuff like that, and it's so incredibly detailed.
Yeah, Oda paid like a ton of attention to the line weight. Like, there's a lot of heavy lines, so we see that it's Pika's fist, but like all the engravings, all the stone, and none of the buildings are heavier line than its fist. It's just a lot of attention to it. It's great.
It's awesome, and Zadoom. And then we find out that somewhere outside the Coliseum, Luffy and Zoro wake up after being knocked the hell out, and they call him the Stone Assimilation Man, which I like. There's a lot of like great superhero names on every page of this from the different nicknames they give to Pika. They're trying to figure out to beat him, and then Luffy sees a friend. It's Cabbage, and I'm like, "Hello, sexy lady," and then I have to remember, oh no, that's a dude, which happens fairly often in One Piece. I want to say, it's Cavendish. Zoro's like, "Who's this guy?" Law just wakes up. Cavendish is immediately into berserker mode. Luffy's like, "Nah, chill out. He's friends with me." Law's like, "No, I am not." which I think is a recurring theme in Luffy's life.
Well, not so much if I could,
Yeah, go ahead.
as much as I support the use of the term friend, but it's more like, oh, he's part of my crew.
He's a nakama, which I go friend because I just think Luffy doesn't.
Well, as you should, because you're smart. It's more like, well, a friend. Like, I don't think Law's that much of a dick, but it's more like, no, he's on my crew. Which
he's part of my team. Back off. Exactly. You want to go through him, you got to go through me.
And it's really interesting watching these last few anime episodes to see that Cavendish's attitude towards Luffy hasn't changed at all, despite all the stuff that's happened in this arc.
Yeah, Cavendish.
He still wants to kill him. He still can't stand him.
It's a bitter pill.
It's more like a reflex than anything else. It's like a reflex, not necessarily. He's not thinking about it. It's just happening.
No, yeah, like the second he sees Law, he just immediately busts out that sword. So basically, he's like, nah, look, I'm not going to mess with the Straw Hats anymore because of the great god Usopp, which is my favorite thing ever. I can't wait for the Usopp Buggy spinoff where they just go around the world pretending to have done awesome stuff.
I would totally watch that.
No, so do I. And then Usopp saved Cavendish's life, and I actually think there's a really nice Luffy moment where he's like, "Oh man, thank you. Like it's nice of you to talk about my crew that way."
I also like that Cavendish is like, "Oh, I'll never forget his courage," which I didn't actually see happen, but I'm taking everyone else's word.
Yeah. And also, and Cavendish is nice enough to bring back Law's hat, even though he wanted to kill him the second he realized who he was, which I guess is nice of him. And Law doesn't want to put the hat on because he doesn't want to get his head cut off, but he'll put that hat on, believe me, because otherwise his hair looks too much like Luffy's. So we need that hat. Yeah, look at that panel above them.
By the next panel, he's already got the hat back on.
Exactly. Yeah.
He doesn't want to be anything like Luffy. As far away as he could get.
So then the next page we have Cavendish is like, "Oh, don't worry about it. I'm too busy to deal with people like you, and I have a debt to pay. So I'm gonna go ahead and take Doflamingo's head for you." And Luffy does not take that sitting down.
He's gonna go get Doflamingo's head for you. He. The way he chuckles at the end of that is just so self-indulgent. Anyway.
Oh, I was like, I missed some subtext there. I didn't understand.
He says, "Go on and hide now. Go cower in a corner."
Super condescending, Cavendish.
Go see a Star Wars.
So Luffy doesn't take that sitting down. And he's like, "No, that's my job. I owe Rebecca for buying me lunch," and that was a hilarious reveal.
Look, when someone buys me lunch, I do take it seriously. I will fight to the death for them.
That's like the debt I repaid to Dominic many years ago.
Inside baseball. Anyway, so Cavendish is like, "No, I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to, get fame from, seizing Cavendish and all that good stuff." And, he basically sits there daydreaming about all of the awesome stuff that's going to happen if he, defeats him. And then, he just basically spends all of his time reenacting a fake conversation.
I love this panel.
He's moving his hands like he's ballroom dancing with a ghost.
I see this scene being extended in the anime for about 15 minutes.
Yeah, that's a whole episode.
You'll have a whole flashback as to this fake thing.
Like everyone knows it's Cavendish. It's fantasy.
And then we do a quick pan, I guess, to a bunch of other people. We have the Sai, Don Chin Zhao and Boo and all those people from the Coliseum, and they're like, "Oh, we found you." And Luffy, in a really funny reaction, is like, "Oh crap, run!" And
is Law on his back again there? Yeah, I guess he picks Law back up to get ready to run.
But then Don Chin Zhao was like, "No, I've forgotten about my entire grudge against your whole family and all your descendants and all that good stuff." So, and then God, what's his name? Boo says,
"Yeah,
he's
right
like
there, right below."
I'm in the moment. Let it go.
Right, exactly. So that's why.
Originally, shut up. So he said he came to this country originally to destroy Doflamingo's whole underground business, and he's not going to let. Is he referring to Luffy's bounty?
The star rating.
The star rating bounty.
Oh, okay, that bounty. Okay, I wasn't sure.
Well, he also has his regular bounty, so I guess there's that.
And then that's what I was wondering about. But then,
never mind. Go ahead.
No, okay. But then Zoro makes a funny comment talking about, "Man, you met a lot of weird people while you were here." And Luffy's like, "Yeah, man."
What's the teardrop in that You've met a lot of weird people, Bubble. I'm just curious if that was
sweat
something
drop.
Oda did. Okay.
It's like he's sweating. It's like, what the hell is up with you? You're all meeting all these weird people. Although you should be used to it by this point. I mean, come on.
Zoro
You have a goddamn skeleton in your crew.
I was just going to say he's crewmates with a reindeer and a skeleton. You'd
And a
think he'd chill
cyborg.
out.
A real
exactly.
cyborg.
It's like
Cyborgs are normal, guys. Come on. Yeah, how weird is that?
no, but it's like Zoro's like, man, I'm embarrassed that you even know these people. So it's like an embarrassing
like that. Yeah.
thing. And
although these are the least weird people we see out of the.
It's like when you have your friends that you hang out with, and then you have some other friend that you want to, bring over. Kind of it's like, oh hey, I hang out with this guy from time to time. He's cool, and then all your friends are like, oh my god, why'd you bring this dude over? It's like, oh, he's not normally like this.
And then Don Shinjao
Is that like when you bring Firecrouch home for dinner?
Yeah.
That hasn't happened yet.
I just haven't eaten outside.
Poor Firecrouch. Anyways, Don Shinjao says, so I need to repay my debt to you by crushing Doflamingo, or to Usopp, rather. And Luffy, once again, incredibly indignant. And then we have the warrior of Elbaf, Hadrudin, come in and says, you know what?
Hyriden, right?
Yeah, I feel like Luffy's just running, and around every corner is just like another Coliseum.
That's pretty much what's happening, and everyone has the debt to repay to them, and it just gets increasingly frustrating for him. He's like, "No, fuck you guys. This is my thing. Stop trying to rain on my parade."
And meanwhile, around another corner, here's King Elizabello of Prodence and his minister, his tactician Dagama, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I've always owed King Riku, so I'll do this for him." And Dagama, who, as we know, Dr. Eggman there was quite a schemer, and so he's like, no, His Majesty has convinced me. We don't want that bounty. Not at all.
2 + 2 = 5.
Dr. Eggman and King Hippo, mind you. It's like Game Master up in here.
And meanwhile, we have Abdullah and Jeet, the infamous duo there, who I think out of everyone are the most into God Usopp. They're the ones who have had like a totally religious awakening.
Understandably, I mean.
Yeah, they were the most evil, I think, of all of them, and now they're on the side of good. And not only them, but we have Columbus.
Yet they always make the same exact pose, like every single time we've seen them.
That's their thing. That's what they do.
The tongue in, yeah. And not only them, but Orlumbus, Ideo, Suleiman, Gilly, they're all crammed into smaller and smaller panels.
Well, as far as we're concerned, how do we know that Jeet has, or whoever the one is with his tongue out, has not had a stroke in the past and he just can't close his mouth?
Come on, man, it's the Iron Sheik. It's just intimidation.
Yeah.
No, he's Tiger Jeet Sinth.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And so Zoro has a suggestion. He's like, okay, well, how about we do this thing and you guys can stand there and watch us as we do it, which no one wants to hear. As he says, they got too much ego to be backseat fighters here. So Luffy's going to lay down the law. He's like, all right, listen up, knock it off, everybody. You all heard me. I'm going to whoop him. And nobody is taking this lying down. They're all furious. Sai says, no, you listen to me. We're repaying our debt. And he threatens to kill Luffy if he doesn't allow him to repay his debt that he owes Luffy. And then you have all these guys, claiming the thing that matters most to them, like honor, fame, pride, King Riku. I have a feeling that Elizabello he totally has like a one-sided bromance with King Riku.
He's around. We'll find him.
Yeah,
let's see what happens there.
He's totally like the bad neighbor, like the Homer Simpson type neighbor, where he's like, "Oh, hey, buddy, can I? A bunch of the guys are coming over this weekend. Can I borrow your grill?" And then he like runs over it with his pickup truck. "Oh shit, I'm sorry, dude. Hey, we're best friends, aren't we? Yeah." He's just like a huge pain in the ass to Riku.
What kind of neighbors do you have, man?
How did he run over it with his truck? How did the grill get on the ground? Yeah,
that's the mystery. That's how bad of a neighbor he is to.
How did you get a truck in One Piece?
You forgot to mention he drives Bigfoot, the monster truck. Yeah.
No, it's actually the farmer from that.
Digger.
It's the farmer from episode 1 of DBZ.
Okay, there's 2 questions I have about this panel, though, Steven. Well, 2 notes. Have we seen Bazap before? That sound effect?
Zap.
I've just been waiting for that. And I also love Law's increasingly bewildered faces.
Yeah,
that one's...
Face of Dressrosa. That's the arc in the nutshell, that reaction face.
Sanchi warned him as to what he was getting into. I mean...
he didn't listen.
He didn't listen. You didn't listen. Okay.
He didn't listen.
But now the onlookers, looks like some of Doflamingo's army has spotted all of these guys with bounties, 2 stars and 3 stars. We're going to take them all down. And actually, no. In fact, these are not Doflamingo's men. These are the other guys who were toys just a little while ago, and they've already turned on him. And all these guys are not happy about that. And we turn the page.
Dominic.
No, I'm the next one after.
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot about that. Steve.
It's me.
That was embarrassing for you, Zach.
Thank you, Jammer.
How will you ever get over it?
I won't.
I would be high-fiving Jammer right now if I was there.
I'm leaving right now.
So as the
Guys, welcome to the Matt Cohen Presents One Piece podcast.
Okay. Go ahead.
Woo. Sorry. We didn't know when that laugh was going to end. Me and Zach actually had a laugh like that. I think the last time I was over your place, we were laughing about something, and we our laugh slowed down, and then kind of just subsided, and I went, woo. Like in the Austin Powers movie.
I think it's your turn to read.
I think it is.
That's funny, Steve, but seriously, go on.
Yeah. Like I was planning to before all that. So as the ungrateful swine approaches, they say, "Die, you ungrateful swine!" And they just use all their techniques to just smack all these guys away. And Luffy discovers a familiar face. It's you, Moosey.
And have you been impersonating Moosey? Is that what's happening?
That just turned into Yoda's laugh. Jedi Master. Okay. Square outside the House of Toys. They're just all the king's forces and all the king's men could not find the bodies of the Straw Hats. Okay, here we go. All right, I guess I got to take a shot at this now. And we get Pika just looming over the kingdom. So it's like, tell me if you find them alive.
Really?
That's a little too many.
That's a little low.
That's a little higher than that.
Hey, tell me if you find them alive.
Yes.
Perfect.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
I won't let them reach Dorothy.
You're gonna get nightmares from that voice. Jesus.
Dead man, Ramsey.
Don't touch them, ticklish. Okay. Maybe we should go with the Mickey Mouse voice, because apparently one of the guys in this next panel has been to Disneyland before. He's been to the happiest place on earth. He's wearing some Disney apparel. Look, so what? This is a great line from Steven. Through the smoke, Bullhouetto?
So what was the original line? Was it?
Yeah, that was a joke. The word silhouette in Japanese is hitokage, which means person shadow, and so he says, "Oh, that's a hitokage." No, wait, it's a ushikage, which means a bull shadow.
Cow shadow.
Yeah,
Like, I think bulls could have their own silhouettes too. No, animals. We called something completely different.
Wait, so in Japanese, is that even a joke? Because it almost sounds like they can have a shadow for anything that's not human, like a dog.
Yeah, but they don't use those words.
So a dog can have a human shadow as well?
I don't think they would
You're
use that
overthinking this.
term. Yeah.
I don't think silhouette means human shadow, guys.
Well, didn't he
So-
say that? That's what it translates to?
So our fans gonna start arguing like, oh, they translate the word for silhouette, and that pisses me off. They should just why can't they just Wait, what was the word again?
Hitokage.
Hitokage. Yeah, Hitokage.
That's not according to Keikaku.
Yosh. We found them. It's the Straw Hats. They came back. And it was like, and the guy's like, yeah. What is it like? He's firing his rifle. It's like, yeah, they're on a bull. It's the same 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh.
And on the next page, we have a lovely 2-page spread of everyone bum rushing Doflamingo's army.
Including Luffy face-checking Abdullah for some reason.
Yeah.
Bible.
Get that tongue out of my face.
He's doing it to both of them, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, with his foot, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even notice.
He just doesn't like religious people.
Well, no, because he wants to be in the lead. See, his face would be in the front otherwise. But I think it's kind of interesting. You got Law still laying down there because I think that's G. I'm not sure which one is the one with his tongue out.
Law's not even facing the direction they're running in. He's
there he is. I didn't. Yeah. This is like those. These are like one of those.
Hats back on.
Mm-hmm. I was gonna say these are like one of those highlights puzzles where you have to try and find people because I didn't even see Law there.
Hey, find Bluegilly. He's back there.
So I want to see some cosplay with like a Law dummy draped over their shoulder. That'd be pretty fun.
Genius. Someone get the word.
Oh, you mean like how people had like the Punk Hazard Law with the little chopper tied to his hat?
Oh,
exactly.
My God. Ragdoll effect is like one of the funniest things ever. Someone just like was carrying around a Ragdoll Law all the time. Oh my God. If only we had the technology. I like how Sai is currently in the middle of a kick. So what's he gonna do? Kind of just land back on the ground and just keep running? I just want to look cool. Okay.
No, he's getting his leg out there, so he's the first one there. It's like a photo finish.
He's gonna be doing that the entire time. Each step is like that.
It's because it looks cool, and then he runs back down.
And I mean, I don't know what else to say about this spread. I mean, it pretty much just talks for itself.
Zoro's the most relaxed one there. I think we could all agree.
Oda killing it art-wise this issue. Yeah. Not that he doesn't in every issue, but like, wow, a bunch of really, really cool stuff.
Yeah, I love it. I guess I'm ending this. So the entire Doflamingo, King's Horses and King's Men, are all kind of shocked. It's like, oh shit, they're all bad news, each and every one of them. Who wants
I'm afraid I've got some bad news.
Oh, thank you for that, my friend.
Does anyone want to do this voice since I did it last week? Who hasn't done it yet?
Wait, the
Pika
voice?
Yeah.
I'll try it.
You have to,
yeah. Yes.
3 or 300 makes no difference.
And Pika comes in, his hand, which we have to assume is the size of some sort of town, comes over them.
Look how big
the size of Delaware.
Hyrule and Dunqinjiao. Look at that.
Well, Delaware's not that big, Steve.
So
I mean, it's
it only takes 15 minutes to drive through.
Exactly. Well,
it takes 15 minutes to drive across Pika's hand.
Wow, that might be true. Anyway, Dunqinjiao starts up his technique. Is there any...
Ashokan.
Is there anything we should know about it?
King Hippo is literally wearing boxing gloves, guys. If that wasn't an oblique enough Tyson's Punch-Out reference.
Oh yeah, everyone knew that from the beginning.
Yeah, and he's not all the way charged up, so he has his light edition ready. And they both, he punches, and you see Dunqinjiao on the left there, heading into the hand, the King Punch nail. Which is really cool technique.
No, I think it's the light edition King Punch and then the Drill Dragon Nail.
Yeah. No, I think they combine.
Yeah.
And Pika's reaction is, "Ah!"
That's not very nice. Get away from me.
The light King Punch looks just almost about as powerful as the regular King Punch. It was kind of hard to tell from the angle that they did the original King Punch.
Well, the original also got blocked by Bartolomeo.
The impact is also shooting up Pika's entire arm, not just
Yeah, look at that.
I love that effect.
It's a really, really cool panel.
But he's a Logia, so it's not going to do anything.
And yeah, Pika yells, which I think Steve said earlier. Thank you. It's very brief, but that's a really cool little panel there from Pika. It's not like shaded like the other ones. And everyone's like, "No, Pika's arm!"
No!
And Luffy's like, "Stop following me! Shut up, you savior!" And that ends the chapter. I love this one. Matt, we'll start with you. What were your thoughts?
I loved it. I mean, this might be silly, but it felt like an Avengers or an X-Men comic. It was like a giant superhero team, all these dudes coming together. Pika is awesome. I'm a big Attack on Titan fan, so I like anything massive and city destroying at this point.
It's been a few arcs since we've had one.
Exactly. I just thought it was great. I like the dynamic between Luffy and Law. Like, that's my favorite thing currently going in the series. I know that it's not going to happen, but my vote is for Law to be a Straw Hat because I think he's awesome. And I'm loving this arc. I like Dressrosa in general, but what we've had in the last few issues has been blowing me away. So I'm on board.
Whoever we talked to. Oh, yeah, Ed, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. So this chapter, as he said, is like a whole big team thing. And as a result, not everyone has to get their shit in. So not much happens.
I love all the wrestling fucking references in this episode, boys.
But no, it's like everyone has to talk. Everyone has to be a part of the conversation. So everyone just sort of prepares and then we start attacking Pika. But the interactions are funny and I really like where they're going with it. But I just want a little more. I want the plot to move a little bit more every week.
You want more wrestling references? Fujitora.
Who says we can't have both?
Fujitora was in this chapter for a cup of coffee.
Dominic?
Yeah, this has been. I agree with everyone else. This has been one of the best chapters I've seen in a while. The last few chapters have been building up to something really big, and it's good because I felt like Dressrosa almost kind of plateaued for a little bit somewhere in the middle, at least for me. But now everything's starting to come together. I remember when the arc first started and Luffy was first meeting everybody, which is kind of where the anime is as far as like in the Coliseum, and there were all these introductions of all these characters that we see in this chapter that I was thinking, oh man, I hope these aren't just like one-shot characters that'll only show up for this one fight and then be gone again. And thankfully they're back. I like that Oda put the boxes back in there to remind us because I forgot who half of these people were, as I think almost everybody else.
We all have, yeah.
So this was had the complete opposite effect of how I felt when I first saw them. Now I'm pumped to see them again, and I kind of want to see Oda do a little side panel or little front chapter side story of Abdullah and Jeech, spreading the word, the gossip of God Usopp.
That's what I want as well, and I almost said that earlier in this episode.
Yeah. Jammer.
I think this continues the trend of people in this podcast liking random characters that no one else likes. The whole Abdullah and Jeet thing. But
I like them mostly for who they're based off of.
That's like my entire One Piece fandom. Honestly, I've been having conversations in the last few weeks, and people go, "Who's your favorite?" And they expect me to say Zoro or Sanji, and I'll go like Beppo or that one cow guy. Like, you know what I mean?
I've said whoop slap to that question before. I mean, he's
or
hilarious.
Strawberry.
He's such an angry old man.
Nope.
Strawberry definitely is my favorite. Go ahead, Jam.
No, but I like this is just another indication that no matter where Luffy goes, he manages to assemble a surrogate crew.
Yeah.
Throughout the entire arc, and this
has happened several times at this point.
Exactly, and I just love it when it happens every single time. And building the allies for the final battle at the very end. And chapter was all kinds of funny, and I had a lot of fun reading this chapter, even though not a lot happened.
Although actually, that's a really sort of a thing that started happening around Water 7, because when you think back to Skypiea and Alabasta in particular, there was a lot of just the crew against the fights were a lot smaller and the consequences were a lot smaller, except for Alabasta. But yeah, the series continues to grow in scope.
Well, also the antagonist of this arc in particular is someone I really want to get beaten. Whereas in past arcs, the bad guys are always the bad guys, but Doflamingo needs to go down.
He does. That's a very good point. Who do we have left? Steven.
Yeah, I agree with Ed that, it was not a lot of forward momentum in terms of the plot, but it was a great popcorn chapter. It's just very entertaining, kind of on the lighter end for something that involves a giant arm getting destroyed into little pieces. But I was kind of happy to see just that he did bring back all of the gladiators, and we had discussed before, after Usopp kind of undid the curse, that all these characters could be potential allies in the long run, like not even just over this arc, but in the long haul. And for a little second there, it kind of seemed like Oda was going to turn them back. When Doflamingo unveiled the stars and the bounties and all that, it kind of seemed like maybe there was a chance that they were just going to forget about that and turn back on the Straw Hats. But I was really happy to see that is not going to be the case, and that he's still managing to keep them in this arc and have them do stuff. Which hey, if he's going to introduce all these characters, you got to give him something to do. So
also, was it just me, or is this chapter quite short?
It was 2
incredibly
pages
short. Yeah,
it was 2 pages shorter. Yeah.
Okay.
That explains why everyone only got like 1 page.
There's also a lot of people on this.
Yeah, that's also true.
Combination.
Steve, thoughts, if you have.
It's been said. Cold Stone. I don't know. Everyone kind of really covered it already. I really don't have much to add. I think just art-wise, it was a very impressive chapter because Oda had some spreads that he really definitely had some fun with. So I think it was entertaining in that sorts. But I think it was another, this will lead to this chapter.
I did really like seeing the return of Musi, especially after the anime last week.
I want Musi to join the crew more than anyone else on Dressrosa. They need a real pet for the crew.
We really do like the minor characters. Maybe the Unluckies will come back, right, Matt?
Oh, I love the Unluckies. I love the Unluckies.
I don't even want to get into it.
Any other lingering thoughts? It was a good one. It was a lot of fun. All right, so why don't we get into the next segment? You guys all ready?
All right.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. My name is Zach.
My name is Ed.
My name is Steve.
And my name is Steven.
And today we're going to be discussing the fact that we are turning 5 years old on May 31st. We're old enough to go to kindergarten, old enough to, I don't know.
Old enough to love.
Old enough to know better.
Well, I guess. I don't know. Old enough not to eat bugs off the street anymore.
We know a lot of things.
Yes, that's for sure. Ed, you and I started this podcast, I believe...
Forever
it was 5
ago.
years ago.
Well, Zach, the original concept for the podcast came during, I'd say, like 5.5 years ago.
Yeah, when we were like, look, we both love podcasts. We still both do love podcasts and listen to a ton of them.
That's true.
And we also both love One Piece, and we also both loved One Piece at the time.
Yeah. And I mean, the real story, the story starts like 2.5 years before that. During our freshman year of college, when I was in a writing class that let me write like a research paper about comic books. Now, I wasn't writing about One Piece at the time, but a classmate of ours.
I think this was like 9 years ago. 8 years.
Well, I mean, there's like 2.5 years before the genesis of the podcast in like late 2008.
Okay.
Because this, I mean, it started. I watched One Piece.
Wow, we're really going back here.
Yeah, because our neighbor in the dorm sort of lent us the first volume of One Piece, and then after the summer after that year, I watched all 260 episodes at the time in about 4 to 6 weeks, and I harped on Zach for like 1.5 years to watch the fucking show.
And we were taking a road trip from Florida, and we found out that, shit, the simulcast is getting pulled, and we're like, I want to talk about this on the internet. So we decided
in the interim, we'd gone through the rescue, 4 kids dropping the license, and Funimation picking it up, and there were DVD releases. We were in like season 1 at that time, I think.
I think we were on second or third voyage of season 1, to put things in perspective.
Well, if it was 2009, we were in season 2.
I think we were still going through. Maybe you're right. You might be right.
We definitely had season 1 DVDs when I was still in college.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I might be thinking of that. Yeah, because in college we were showing Friends. I think the season 1 DVDs.
Yeah.
So you might. Yeah, I think you're right, Steve. There, but
So we had been inspired a lot by
So we were
the
in
Lost podcasts of the time.
Right, so we were in Raleigh, Durham, and we were like whatever the hell, and we were like, I think, and we talked to Funk, and it's like, I think it's time that we started this thing.
Funk, who you knew from Toon Zone.
Yeah, which is a site I have not mentioned on the podcast since episode 1, but
That's not true.
it's still around, maybe a few times earlier on, but check it out, yeah, if you haven't before. And then Steve, you started soon after.
Yeah, I think episode 13 was my first episode.
Yeah, was
Firecrotch was on episode 10. You guys are really the ones who've really stuck around since like the very, very beginning. We had other people
because I've got nowhere else to go.
your family here, Steve.
He's our husband now.
Yeah, and since then,
we expanded our reach and brought in people from all over the country and all over the world to be on the podcast, like Greg and Steven here.
Well, Steve, how did you hear about us, or who brought you on?
Well, you were posting on the Arlong Park forums at the time. It's like, oh, that's an interesting concept, and then I kind of just like walked away. I don't think I even really knew what a podcast was at the time. But I think if you know me, I'm gonna like, it could work. Maybe it can't work. I don't know. Maybe we should try.
And you have experience speaking into a microphone.
Yeah, one of those shitty, skinny. It's not even USB. I forget who makes them. Like everyone's had that skinny little.
Like a Logitech or
Logitech, yeah. Little skinny little Logitech.
For the record, I hate those microphones. They suck.
Yeah, but Firecrouch thought my commitment to the One Piece fan community was good enough to bring me on the show. He was wrong, but it wound up being right. It wound up working out. Yeah, I jumped on pretty quick, but and I rose in the ranks very quickly.
Well, we recorded together in person, so
well, when we first met, Zach, that was a while after. That was a good few months. And by then,
you didn't live in New York until like 6 months into the podcast.
Yeah, at least. Yeah, it was in season 2. I moved. Yeah, February 2010. Mm-hmm. I think so. It was in 2010, 11 when we recorded together. Those were fun days, Steve.
It was during your first year of law school, wasn't it?
Yeah, my first year of law school, because my neighbor decided to drag their chair all over the place, so it was literally impossible to record there.
Yeah, Zach and I actually lived very close to each other. Our dorms weren't too far apart, so it was very easy to... Those were Saturday nights. Saturday nights was never about going out and having fun. It was podcasting.
And having fun?
Yeah.
Steven, how did you come aboard?
Well, I was actually brought on by Greg. I don't know how he got started with you guys.
Well, I was a fan of Greg's website back when I was in junior high.
Okay.
So,
how old is Grant? How old is he again? Greg?
Greg
he was
30.
Yeah. No, he's got to be older than that.
No, he might be 31. I don't know
I
when
think
his
it's
birthday
31,
is.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because he had that website up like
DBZ info site.
Yeah, the ultimate DBZ info site, and he was really interested in One Piece, and like, you should bring this guy on. He seems to know a lot, you know.
Mm-hmm. Steven, go ahead.
Sorry. And then he, I knew Greg. We had traded emails a few times, just about. I guess you could say it was about trivia stuff, but it was questions about why, what does this attack move mean? Do you think, what is this? Because obviously he's trying to compile all this data for his website and so on. And I guess he had the idea to bring me on with you guys, and that was well before I was actually, the One Piece translator for Viz. But I had been a professional translator for several years, and so that was what, like 3 or 4 years ago, almost. Like at this point, it was pretty early on, I think, in the history of the podcast.
Well, you weren't a regular for a while.
It was actually,
Right.
It feels like a while because we recorded 2 episodes every week, but it was actually only, and going through them all again, it was only around like 8 months. It really was not that long. I think you joined us in 2010.
Yeah, and then I think eventually I came on more and more often. And I think actually I was just thinking about this because there was a thread on Arlong Park about how long have you been a fan of One Piece in general, and I actually looked it up, and the chapter that I first bought in Jump was like May of 1999. So I'm actually just at my 15th anniversary of reading One Piece.
Oh,
so
congratulations!
Wow.
That's
Yeah. Almost
a big
legal.
achievement.
I guess I started reading it. I read the first volume in 2005.
I think I'm like almost ready to graduate elementary school.
Well, I started reading when the first American Jump came out at the end of 2002. So that's I'm terrible at math. That's 12 years, almost 12 years.
You're almost ready for your One Piece bar mitzvah.
Shalom.
What?
Shalom. Salami.
Shalom.
Shalom. Thank you. Jammer knows that.
Yeah, we have another cast member here.
I only knew
Jammer's
that because of Shanghai Noon when he says that to those Chinese people. He's like,
You don't know
Shalom.
Shabbat? You don't know Shabbat Shalom, motherfuckers, from the Hebrew Hammer? Have none of you seen the Hebrew Hammer?
I've heard of course.
I've seen it because I've been watching
100%
Comedy Central for
circumcised
far too long. I remember the trends.
Steve is a
movies.
connoisseur of Andy Dick movies.
I can't name one besides Hebrew Hammer.
Yeah, it's true. I also can't.
I remember he was on The Assistant.
Oh, I remember that show.
I should mention that I think I mixed up Shalom with Salam Alaikum. I just combined them.
You mean Assalamu Alaikum?
Assalamu, whatever.
Well, you won't offend one religion, or some religion.
We were talking about us?
Yeah, we were talking. But Steven, and when Greg brought you on, it was, I mean, he raved about you and he was completely understating you, I think I could say, because you've been such a valuable addition to the podcast. It's been just so cool having you on, going through, I think, every chapter for the last couple years now with us. You don't miss a beat.
It was definitely on pretty much every week since you took your law sabbatical. So,
I think that was about then.
It's been quite a run for me for the last several months. But
Yeah, I was running the podcast for a few months.
I can't imagine it any other way, though, Steven. It's just
Back when I should have been.
Jammer. When did you start?
Jammer
on
got
One Piece
de-pushed.
podcast?
Cameron can't even handle his own podcast.
I cannot. It's terrible.
What's your
fucking
experience been with the One Piece podcast, Jammer?
Well, I'd like to consider myself possibly the oldest fan next to Fire Crouch, maybe. I listened to you guys. I think I randomly was way back when I was in sophomore in college, and I was like, you know what? I really want to look up some videos on One Piece, and there were no videos on One Piece, and I was like, that's weird. And then I came across, I think you guys put up like one segment of like your pilot on YouTube.
Yeah, we
Yes, we did.
And I came across you guys on that, and I was like, I wonder what this is. Why would they put themselves on iTunes? No one listens to iTunes, and I was completely wrong.
Shut up.
So I looked you guys up, and I think you guys at that point had like 3 episodes in or something like
Yeah,
that.
Fire Crouch did start listening from episode 1, so he does have you beat there. Yeah.
I'm sure there were a few other people paying attention on like Arlong Park.
You know, one of the people who I think who were paying attention, the Daizenshu guys, because I think they posted like a week after we put our first episode out there. They're like, I hear there's a One Piece podcast out there, but let's see what happens though.
Yeah, although they probably got it. I'm gonna guess they probably knew about it because of Jason, because of Evil Gamer X, who had been a long-standing figure in like the Dragon Ball fandom.
Evil Gamer X.
Like people had mentioned his screen name like as far back as the late '90s. I've seen like
Evil
old
Gamer X.
posting. Yeah,
That Evil Gamer X.
yeah. I mean, he was on like the DBZ Uncensored forums. Remember that website?
That's a thing.
Yeah, that was along with
This segment is turning into old people talking about the internet.
Only because the EGX came into the picture, but before that, it was like mid 2000s.
He worked on this podcast for quite a while.
Yeah. He's off in Tampa though. He's retired, I think.
Off in Tampa taking pictures of sunsets.
Hey, sun always sets at night in Tampa.
The same fucking sunset every night. But anyway,
no, we do very much appreciate Jason's contribution to the podcast over the last.
He housed both
Anime Fans Give Back.
Anime Fans Give Back recordings.
Yeah, those are pretty cool.
Yeah, that's
fun.
Yeah, those are some of my favorite times on the podcast.
We were talking, Jammer, how
I saw you guys on YouTube, and I was like, oh, that's awesome. So you guys, I think, were either the first or second podcast I started listening to. And I was like, oh, sweet. So I started listening to you guys every week, and then I think after 15 weeks or so, I was like, I should totally write into these guys. And I wrote into you guys defending the Kuro arc.
How dare you? Why are you even here right now?
Because you guys were merciless towards that arc, and it is still possibly one of my top 5 arcs.
Don't say it. Okay.
I just said it.
Stop saying it.
Having flashbacks to like 2 summers ago and Firecrouch's ranking of the arcs.
I think that was 2 years ago,
yeah.
Ed got so angry.
One of the few times
Why is Fishman Island at the top?
It's like Firecrouch's reasons just made no sense.
I think I may still have those. I'm going to look for those. But keep going.
No, but I was listening to you guys, and you guys were I think I was listening to you guys kind of at the peak of my anime fandom. Not just fandom, but I guess you can call it kind of professional career, because I've had my brief stint in that. Like, I would do stuff I was at Tokyo Pop interning, then I went to Bang Zoom. I did some stuff at Bang Zoom, and I literally had you guys on my iPod every single commute, because I was living at Orange at the time, in Orange, the city of Orange, if anyone gives a shit. And
do they just name their cities after colors in California?
Can you name another?
No.
But yeah, you guys were a constant companion throughout that entire time, and I was like, I should write into these guys. So I wrote into you guys, and you were didn't respond, but you had it on the show, and I was like, oh, it's pretty cool. And then I thought about podcasting myself and thought, what would I want to podcast about? And that kind of just went on with my podcasting. And a movie podcast, and then Animanga Podcast, because I realized that there are a shit ton more movie podcasts out there. So
didn't you meet Dominic through the podcast?
I did. You guys had some sort of, what was it? I remember
Anime
there was
Expo, are you talking about?
It wasn't Anime Expo. It was before that.
A live
I just remember it was a show. It wasn't quite a live show. You had like 1 million people on the Skype call.
Oh,
like,
God. What a terrible idea that was. Yeah, I remember
that's another one of their season 1 concepts.
Those were the days.
And I just remember Dominic going like, yo. And I'm like, hi. And you guys had mentioned him before as Pone Goat Junkie.
Yeah.
And I was like,
still's going to be Pone Goat Junkie.
He was donator-in-chief to the podcast at that time. We were very grateful to his contributions.
And then he was like, so here you have a podcast, because I think you guys had heard about it at that point. And I was like, yeah, I do. He's like, you should have me on. And I was like, okay. And that was pretty much it.
You didn't ask, who the hell are you?
I had heard of his
works today.
I heard his name before, and that was about it. I was like, all right, because I wasn't I was still new to it, so I was like, okay, sure, that's fine. If I don't like you, I just won't have you on again. And then he kind of just became my co-host for the past few years. So that's kind of how that happened. I wasn't talking about the origin of Animanga Podcast, was I?
Yeah, you kind of keep doing that, plugging your own defunct podcast.
Yeah, pretty much defunct at this point, but we're hoping to get back to it. But at some point, you invited me to come on, and I forget what episode that was, but it was all kinds of good times.
109 or something?
109, 10 something. I think
we met you at Anime Expo in 2010.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah,
we met you before we had you on, yeah.
Yeah, Zach and Ed came to Anime Expo a couple years back, and Dominic was also there.
That was 4 years ago.
Yeah, it was.
Did I say 2 years ago?
You said a couple.
A couple. It's
oh, fuck.
Couple of couples.
So a couple of years ago, you guys came to Anime Expo, and that was really fun. And then later on, like a couple months after that, then you guys invited me on the podcast for the first time. And I basically became the person who hosts the podcast when Zach is not available to do so, or anyone else. on the East Coast.
Yeah.
Basically, when the East Coast can't take charge,
Podcast West Coast.
I do. Podcast West does.
So the next thing I want to kind of go through is just your guys' like favorite moments or most memorable moments in the podcast that stick out in your mind. I'll start with Steven.
Man, I think the one thing for me, and I wasn't involved with the Anime Fans Give Back, which I imagine would be pretty unforgettable especially if you took part in that and were up for 24 hours.
Yeah, don't remind me.
But yeah, but I think the thing that I is most vivid to me was was it just this last December? The Greg, obviously every season finale is a giant ordeal with some crazy stories. But the one where Greg met Oda and he was talking about recounting the story, and not just the stuff that he said on the air, but some of the stuff that he showed us that we couldn't tell anyone else about. It felt like we were. I don't know. It was almost like, he'd been in a long time since he was on the podcast and he had all these stories and it was like old friends meeting up almost, even though he's, regularly on. And that was just really cool just to reflect on where we had been and how far we'd come.
Yeah. And reflect on all the things that Greg has, gotten us, entree into as far as Japan goes. I mean, like the second or third episode we had him on was our first Jump Festicast. So.
And Steven, that episode, actually, we put out a poll, favorite episodes that you guys had. That was number one, pretty far and away, actually. We will be replaying that in probably the next few weeks.
The whole thing.
No, yeah, we're gonna put it back on the feed as a classic episode. So looking forward to that. Steve, moment that sticks out in your mind.
It's tough because I've been here practically since the beginning. It's most recent, but I apologize. But the first thing that's come to my mind was Anime Boston this past year. It's kind of like here's where we've come to with this podcast. We produced our own documentary about One Piece. Greg, we had our fans fund the money for Greg to come in to the United States for a weekend. We had Doctor there. We had Jose, who we befriended from Toonami Faithful. And it was kind of and it was all just camaraderie. It was just, it seemed like we've all known each other for a very long time now with just how
and the thing is, we've only known Jose for less than 2 years because we met him, out of our own failed Toonami podcast project.
I thought it was combined, not failed.
It was.
Well, we were failing to produce one, so we combined.
Well said. I think Jose's also called it failed. So,
well, of course, he's the enemy.
Shut the hell up, Jose.
He's not the enemy.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with failure.
He's a frenemy.
I'm kidding.
Well, and hey, if it wasn't for us relinquishing the Toonami podcast, OPP Japan wouldn't look half as good as it did.
I don't even think it would. Who knows if it would exist?
If it would even have happened. Yeah.
Well, just all the conventions you went to. I don't know if you remember, Zach, but we went to I would say a convention a month for the first year of the podcast. After
I think we went to 10 to 15.
After anime from between Anime USA. 2009 and
through Otakon,
and through Katsucon 2011.
Yeah, that's about right.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, Anime Expo, NecoCon, and
NecoCon was before Anime USA.
That's right, actually. Toricon,
Yeah, Toricon.
Anime Expo, New York Comic Con, Anime Central. Jeez, it's
Anime Next.
Anime Next.
That was the pizza eating one.
No, that was
Manga Next.
Manga Next.
There was both. We went to both.
Oh yeah, which one was the one where you guys had the dinner with the One Piece podcast?
That was Manga Next. That was Manga
Next. I remember that. I watching that. That was a good watch.
Where
me, at least.
Me and Jason somehow pulled in our chairs in sync, and we could not stop laughing at the video when we saw it later. We're like, how did we do that? Was that the same one I did a spit take? I think someone brought that up.
You probably did.
Because I love spit
Probably
takes.
did.
I love to do them. Don't get enough chances.
Especially on the podcast.
I just think going to conventions is very much so altered my lifestyle as of late. And a huge part of it is just because of the podcast. I mean, I've so many familiar faces I've seen come and go, and so many that have stuck around on the convention scene. It's just crazy.
I'm surprised nobody's mentioned our relationship with J. Michael Tatum and that anime show yet. We went to Dallas. We went to Funimation Studios. We visited with the people who make the show. We watched part of. Full
It was during the break in One Piece.
And that ties in with what I was saying with the conventions, with all the people we've interacted with. It's a damn shame we did that trip so early on.
Yeah.
With what we could do now with like OPP and with OPP Japan and like the videos we come out with from doing interviews at cons, like we could really do something really cool in Dallas. But
I don't know. I always felt like the door was open for us to return. We just haven't been able to.
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure it is.
But, it's just that's time and money and
pretty much.
It's just if only someone at Funimation that we know is listening to this episode.
We had our own convention, guys.
Oh right, we did have our own convention.
Yeah, we even hosted our own
Opcon.
Yeah, which had a surprisingly good attendance.
Yes.
Very good attendance.
Let's just say this: what baffles me is how people came to the One Piece podcast convention and had no idea there was the biggest the second biggest. It's either the biggest or the second biggest.
Biggest on the East Coast.
Biggest on the East Coast anime convention going on at the same time. It's like
across the street.
Across the street. I'm like, well, that's why we're doing it in the first place. We just didn't get a panel. Attendance that was great. We had people that drove down there for the freaking day. Weren't there some
right? That's who you're talking about. The same
group
people.
of kids from like Brooklyn.
Yeah, because they didn't know Otakon existed. They came down and they're like, "Oh, Opcon, yeah."
Oh, it's just a room with free bagels.
Well, we had a lot of free prizes at that one, if I recall.
You guys had free bagels?
We did.
Yeah.
Part of the you had to pay to get in, but
oh shit,
we didn't charge that much though.
No, I don't think so. Yeah, I think it was like,
and we had so much stuff to give away thanks to Josh.
Yeah, like everyone got.
I think everyone got just about their money's worth. Yeah, like
no more.
Well, we did a lot because we had
Charlene, right?
And we had Char and Josh.
Both of them
did a panel with them, and then we did our Jeopardy, which was a blast.
Oh my god, that was fun. I'm glad we got to do that. And Charlene now, she got to announce Sailor Moon for Viz, and Josh is now the brand manager of One Piece.
I want to guess, is he the longest tenured brand manager for One Piece
we've had so far?
That we've worked with? Yeah, I think so.
I believe he has. Yeah. I think
well, how many have you gone through?
3,
4.
Oh yeah, 4 actually.
4. Yeah.
4. Can you name them all?
I can.
That's
should I? I think I can.
Why not?
Doug, Curtis, Charlene, and Josh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've had very good relationships with all of them.
They've all been amazing and super helpful and fun to work with. And
regardless of all the things you may have said about a certain baseball anime, Zach.
What? What about Big Windup? What? I don't care. I'll say it.
It's almost like we could write a very boring book about convention experiences. Hey, this book would be appealing to you if you were us.
I like that standard.
Oh, man.
So besides from conventions, we also worked with Funimation to announce season 4. That's definitely something that sticks out in my
the Radio Lab intro we did for that.
That was also fun. And we got to interview Colleen and Chris.
The countdown
Sabat
clock.
And the countdown clock, which is the best marketing technique ever by anyone.
And
we could say.
And once Funny plugged that for us, it was on. I mean, it was pretty obvious what it was going to be. Everyone was like, season 4, I don't know why they just don't say it already.
But everyone was like, I don't know, maybe it's something else.
Yeah,
and
it's the fun.
That's all it takes. That's all it takes, a little doubt. And since then, we've had season 5 and season 6 and Film Z and Strong World. So Funimation's really been pumping that out since Viz, in the last 5 years, think about where Viz has gone, right, Steven?
The speed up.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had the speed up.
All that has happened since we started the show.
The speed up, alpha, simultaneous releases. Yeah.
You even got a second color walk in English.
Right.
Right. And
Maybe
It's really the
someday.
future. It's really the future of manga distribution.
Color
Yeah.
walks?
No, it was Shonen Jump.
Yeah, we were talking about color walks a second ago.
Jumping around.
So I like to come with it at a. Let me try making my words actually a sentence here.
Okay, good luck.
Let me come.
I try
at this
so hard every day with that.
from a fan's perspective, because I think, with the exception of maybe like Jose and William and the news crew, like I was probably the latest edition for 2 years or so.
Yeah.
And so I was a fan of you guys for a long period of time. So as far as what I considered landmark episodes for you guys, there were a few of them. One was the Godcast, or not even the God, before the Godcast actually. It was
Kyle Bear.
a few episodes before that. There was that one, but I think a few episodes before that, it was Steve was talking about the convention where he met Tatum. And
episode 50, I think.
was that episode 50?
I think so.
It was Anime USA. That was
I've
our
been
first
going
one.
through them, and I'm pretty sure it's episode 50 or 49. It's right
The
around.
one in Japanese.
Yeah, that's
But
episode 50. Yeah.
But I remember Steve going through and talking about his experience with meeting Tatum, and I guess kicking open the door and yelling "success" at the top of his lungs when he talked about Tatum. And for me, as a listener, I was thinking, all right, these guys who I've been listening to for so long are now starting to get, I guess
That next level.
that next level. It was sort of the jumping, not the jumping off point. It was sort of the next tier for you guys, and it kind of just snowballed from there into I know you guys had Vic Mignogna very soon after that, and a lot of other voice
We
actors.
had a lot of interviews in that period because we went to a lot of cons. So
Well, the thing is, I think Tatum could get a lot of credit because our association with him was really what got us in with Funimation, because they started seeing us around all the time. And from there, it's kind of just the relationship just transcended into just that entire company.
It's crazy. Why would they talk to a bunch of annoying kids talking about One Piece? And
See, that's the thing, though.
crappy
We
microphones?
managed to come off so well.
Even with the crappy microphones.
Somehow we pulled. Well, we're talking about being in person too, Zach.
Oh, I forgot about in person.
It's not like we show up at conventions and we're like, don't care, but I'm good.
No, but you guys had gathered a following by that point, and I think they kind of saw the merit in that.
Well, also, that was a really crazy time to be a One Piece fan because it's not a spoiler. Everyone knows that Ace died. Ace and Mike died shortly.
No.
After.
Yeah, you guys remember that episode that we did on that snow day?
Yeah.
If there was a time to start this podcast, you sure as hell picked the right time, because Impel Down was just ending, and then Marineford reading that every week was just batshit insane.
It was. Yeah.
It made for good podcasting.
I think one of the funniest things, though, is going back. We have made such light of that death since then that going back, we were all so serious about it.
Well, it also starts with Tropical Pink.
Yeah, I mean, that's where making fun of it really began. It's when they produced a freaking shirt
and a tote
in
bag,
tropical pink, that says "Start living or start dying." I mean, but tropical pink. Okay,
I want that tote bag.
I don't doubt it's still around.
I doubt it too.
So before we go, and we'll probably talk more in the future.
The thing is, there's too much to talk about.
There is. So I'm sure we'll do this again in the future at some point. If you guys have things you want to talk about, look, we'll do them during the piece together. Just hashtag it OPP 5 years.
Yeah, just send us questions or comments. We could. I'm sure we could have a few more segments over the next month or so, just kind of devoting to this.
Yeah. So what have been some episode titles that have stuck out for you? Because that has been something we put a lot of work in that, and I mean, tonight was kind of easier to go to get.
I'll tell you right now, because at the time of recording this, we've already decided the episode title is one of my proudest accomplishments.
I don't know if Ed's seen it yet, so be surprised.
If it was in the chat, I may have. I don't really remember.
Yeah.
But what are some that stick out to you as being some of your favorites?
The Godcast was the first. Was like the first of puns. I think we've had some puns in the past, but that was the
our early ones were kind of stupid. There were definitely some bad ones there.
He also had what's the one that I'm thinking of? The Informal King of Pirate Listen track, stuff like that.
I still like the Zorro duck because I love that.
I think I was the one who noticed the Zorro duck in that cover page.
When I saw that.
Yeah.
But
the Zorro duck is a very good early episode.
I think the audio really is terrible in all of those, and it's really hard for me to listen. But people that aren't me don't notice that. So
was the Zorro duck that early? I think that was pretty late.
No, it was not. It was
like season 2 at the latest. Yeah,
season 1.
Season 1, yeah.
I don't know why.
And I'll tell you right now, I have not gone back, probably because I have to re-download them, but I have not gone back and listened to old episodes. I can only imagine us sounding like, "Hey, let's all go out for frosty chocolate milkshakes."
Well, look, I'll should I spoil the surprise
that kind
here?
of level of change.
Should I spoil the surprise? What's coming for people who listen to this segment and listen to us talking about ourselves? On Saturday, God willing that I could actually put this all together and finish it in time.
So why?
No, well, if it doesn't come out this Saturday, it'll come out eventually. I am putting together a massive clip show, so look forward to that. So if you're like Steve and you haven't listened to the old episodes in 5 years, you'll get to hear what it sounded like.
We can go through some of my favorite episode titles. We Are Manji is the second episode of the podcast. The Will of F is
You're just going in order. You're going through the list.
I'm looking at them because I don't.
Well, what pops up out of your head? Do you remember any?
Can I knock you down a peg, Ed?
What's that?
Green Day Sucks is the worst episode title.
That was pretty bad.
What were you
talking
about?
I don't know.
That was yours.
Green Day was brought up for an instant, and you're like, "Yeah, Green Day sucks." I'm like, that's gonna be the title. I'm like,
No,
you can't have an opinion.
No, I went off on like a little. I went off on a. It was more than that. I went off on like a rant about them because I thought they sucked. They still suck.
Oh God, here we go. Wait, I got an idea. Let's name this episode "Green Day Sucks 2."
No.
That's a terrible idea.
Green Day Sucks More.
I like Into Final Phase just because of what we did that caused that episode title. Reading those god awful scanlations.
I mean some that I remember, like an episode I remember having a lot of fun with. I mean, a few of them. Interstellar 3D2Y was a ton of fun. I remember. What was it? It's All About Strawberry, and the one about Adventures in the Lower East Side, I think. I remember those were the last two I think I did with you.
In the Forest
Steve.
of Region V. I remember
It's All About Strawberry was the last episode Zach and I recorded in my dorm room.
That was probably one of the most fun I've had recording, which is different than being.
And that's the thing. I kind of, in an unrelated note, like I shouldn't get into it. I really shouldn't have recorded with Zach that night, but I was like, "But this is my last night to record with Zach. I have to do it."
Why
and it
shouldn't
worked
you
out
have?
in the end. Reasons.
I know the reasons. They're personal.
They're personal. They're dark. Get out of my closet. Yeah.
Poor Shemmy Penis Face.
Yes. That's an important
one thing, not related to episode titles. What I enjoy about the podcast is us, just us making a big deal out of characters that are just worthless.
That is amazing.
I thought you were going to say something poignant.
Like, how many jokes are you going to make about Luffy? Like, Luffy's a walking, talking joke, and it's like trying to make an abridged series. Like, shut up, stop trying to make fun of One Piece. You're not going to succeed. And I said it.
I think the only time
that's one of the great pieces of forgotten lore about the podcast. The great missing abridged episode.
And I'm pretty sure we mentioned it on air.
It was all recorded, and I just decided to throw it out.
Nope.
Wait, what is this? I have not heard of this.
Well,
I consider myself
before your
Aren't you
time.
happy you listened to this segment?
Early in season 1.
Within the first year. It was in the fall of 2009.
It probably was in like the first 20 episodes. I think it was probably in the teens. We recorded a whole abridged episode. And it was the least funny thing I've ever recorded in my life. In fact, they were all bickering at each other, I think. And so I decided to throw it out.
And someone subtly took me down a peg. And I'm like, and this is part of, I'm in a room with people that give some of these people care too much about this. Other people, they're clearly doing this just because it's a fad. It's like, you wouldn't expect a bunch of people that make parodies, comedic parodies, would be some of the most boring, benign people ever.
Oh, that's so mean.
I mean, no, they all weren't, but I mean, like, Sketch is still a good friend, and Steve was on there. He's okay. But
everyone else has done nothing notable.
But it's also kind of just like we brought a lot of different groups together that clearly had animosity toward each other.
I didn't even know who they were.
I think they all had animosity toward Steve, which
two
is
of them,
weird.
their studio name was practically the same thing.
Yeah, I remember that.
When
Like, what was
people
it?
just say their name, they're like, "No, that's us." It was like at one point I come and say, "You know what? Who gives a shit? You both suck."
This is kind of
It
what's
sounds so mean for me to say it, but it's been years. I guess it's kind of like the AIDS episode of South Park. It's hasn't been 21 years, but it's been long.
Kind of
enough.
like my little freak out on episode 100.
Yes.
we could talk about that too.
The statute of limitations has passed on that.
Yes.
What's that?
And everyone knows.
It's just, people wouldn't shut up on the damn manga
You
recap.
could
They
tell
wouldn't-
because Ed said it on
I
the
know what
wouldn't
you're
episode.
stop doing stupid voices, and I just got up and left the podcast for
It
a few
wasn't so
minutes.
much stupid voices. It was yelling. It was yelling.
Are you talking about where you're talking about the rape fairy joke?
Yes.
I know exactly what you're talking
Why
about.
are we talking about bad things?
I was about to name drop him right now, but I ain't going to.
No, don't.
Don't bother.
People have grown up anyway, so it's.
Yeah.
I don't think that would be the case today.
You got to think about those early 20s into your mid 20s is your awkward phase.
It's your hormonal times.
I thought that was like 15. But
Shut up, Jammer.
Shut up! I'm a late bloomer.
So
Banana
more
me.
pleasant thing, yeah, banana me.
Yeah, like, were there any other low points we should just get out of there? Because people love drama.
People do love
Oh,
drama.
fucking! That's what I live for.
That Jammer. Every time he came on, he would not be on.
Well, I do notice this. Whenever I come on the podcast, I think what's it called? What's that called? Someone talk while
You're
I
not able to speak. That's the thing.
Another
that
sad moment was when Zach got his laptop stolen.
Oh. Why are we talking about that?
Because we're talking about the lows.
But not the lows that people don't know about.
In
I
any
think is what he's
retrospective, you got to talk
say.
about the lows.
Well,
But I
whenever
wanna talk
Jammer
about the
comes on,
highs.
the integrity of the podcast seems to drop a few pegs because I think the swearing goes up about twofold.
Oh, that's
And
me
the-
too. But
It's so bad.
So
I
it's gone
realize
up
this-
fourfold.
Like listening whenever I come on, I don't think I could speak without dropping an F-bomb every now and then. Compared to you guys, it's just kind of like, oh, well, that happens. Or whenever it becomes increasingly crass whenever it's just podcast West. It's like a completely different dynamic. I think it's pretty funny.
I do want to go back to a high since Banana Me was mentioned. I know there's no real transition. We also have Banana You with the
Banana him.
Banana Him
yes.
with
right.
the Japanese voice of Anaru.
That was probably one of the single scariest moments in my entire life doing that interview because I'm not sure how much we told on the podcast, but we didn't
Toshiyuki
have,
Morikawa, for the record.
Yeah, and we didn't have a translator there, so we had a friend of Dennis who knew some Japanese, but not that much. And I remember we had this one question from Jay Michael Tatum for the voice actor. You know, they both voice Enoru, one in Japanese, one in English, and he had like this really long paragraph.
That's
And
Tatum.
the girl that I was with, she was like, I have no idea what a lot of this stuff means, but basically, here's a part of a question here. So we ended up like asking that part of a question, and her kind of trying to figure out, okay, well, I don't understand a lot of this stuff, but you know, she did her best, you know, bless her. But it was just the guy was speaking fast, and she was just kind of like, So we're just kind of like, oh, okay, we think this is what you said, and we'll move on from here. So it was kind of we're kind of just throwing stuff together to try to make it work.
I also want to mention Steve's propensity to do artwork for episodes instead of sometimes just doing the. You did Admiral Magoo. You did I Need Lady.
5 minutes till Conan was
Yes.
Yeah, that was an early one,
the
yeah.
biggest. That was the biggest cram session.
You superimposed the Dolph Ziggler one last year.
And the two recent ones. Yeah, you have Aokiji.
Yeah, Aokiji
Yeah.
without
And the
with
Doflamingo
Aokiji
show.
on Razor Ramon, and then a few weeks ago I did the Doflamingo show.
Which is a great one.
Which I think that annoyed Zach because I started working on it while we're in the episode. So Zach's like, who's clicking? I think if I had my tablet plugged in, it would have been done much quicker, but I'm just trying to draw the lines on Steven Tyler's face, and I'm like, I'm just podcasting. you see a lot more of those when we'd be recording an episode much earlier.
So I think since we're kind of talking about it, what some pieces of lore that we've had going throughout the podcast, like the number 69 following us everywhere. We talked about Porchemi Penis Face.
Steak and Salad is the newest.
Steak and Salad's the new one.
Our Christmas specials.
We have that's I guess lore. I think like certain voices that we've done, like Dellinger, that Steve's done.
The original was the Bev Big Head Moria voice, wasn't it?
No, that was
Harvey Firestein.
Harvey Firestein, right?
Secrets and conversations and
what happened to those segments?
Oda's Deep Thoughts.
I will say this.
Deep Thoughts have been around still a little bit.
I think we kind of brought a lot more attention to Eneru.
Yes.
I do think so, because I remember seeing a lot more people bring up like Eneru, like in Tatum's panels, and a lot of times they'd mention the podcast. They're like, "Yeah, I heard you on the One Piece podcast, and I really like your Eneru."
Well, because he felt it was so underappreciated.
And I'll be honest, I didn't appreciate Eneru as much as I possibly could until we started talking to Tatum. I didn't care for Skypiea initially.
Well, what's weird, and I don't know if this is really related, because I think less than half the people in the ASEN panel I just did listen to us when Eneru showed up on the Unlimited World Red trailer I played. He got some cheers, like nothing like Law and Ace, but loud enough, not just a woo. It was like woo, yeah. And I was like, okay.
And I think at least one last thing, and we kind of mentioned it earlier, is the Hokotate stuff. And Stephen had to step out, but I mean, we all still, I think, could definitely talk about how amazing that was, and leading up to OPP Japan as well. Mm-hmm. Just how crazy it's been that Greg became a celebrity. And we're not going to spoil anything, but he's gone overnight into a sensation, and we got to experience it with him, which is really cool. So if you're a new fan and you haven't yet, and I know we have a lot of new fans, I would definitely recommend in our 5th season of the podcast, you could check all these episodes out at onepiecepodcast.com/schedule and just click the season, which is approximately the year. It starts turning into the year in the
season 2.
Season 4 is when we start doing one season a year. But you could check them out. Season 5 contains the journey for Greg. It kind of all happened in a year, starting with Pyrobloin Hazard, which is a nice underrated episode that I definitely suggest. It's some really cool stuff from Greg. Happened right after the Manga Stream Viz discussion, which was also a landmark because it was our highest rated episode ever. And going into Don't Stop Believin', and ending with, of course, We Are the Champions and the Super Z-Cast stuff. And into this year where Greg is, I mean, we talked about Congratulations, which is I think it was, or was whatever it was, the most recent season finale for season 6. What a journey that was.
Yeah.
So any other thoughts?
I got one thing.
Yeah,
I want to hear the first.
No, shut up.
Wait, the what? I didn't hear that.
No, don't repeat it.
Repeat it again.
That After Dark episode that we love to talk about.
Oh, that one.
I'm carrying a pillow and hitting you with it, even though you cannot see me.
I did not have the pleasure of being on that episode, but I remember listening to it. I believe I was getting work done at the school, and I was listening to it, and it's so funny just to hear people talk about fictional characters like that.
Shut up.
We never did it again.
Like, to be completely honest, I would love to see us, but things are completely different now. Zach was fun employed at the time, so Zach would just do a podcast just because,
it's Wednesday.
Because it was sunny out. Hey, the weather's really nice, and I'm breathing, so you want to do a podcast? That's what it used to be like.
It's true, I did do that. And everyone else was kind of like, okay.
It's like, Zach, you're suffocating me.
But I
would love to see us do more specials and kind of just talk about certain characters or something else. Not like, I think talking about arcs has kind of been done to death by us. Like,
the quintessential, we did a lot of that.
Yeah. So there were some that was us, us ranking all of our favorite arcs at the time was great.
Well, We'll do that again in 10 years.
That time when we did a review of one of the season 3 sets, I think we just talked about Skype as a whole, and like, you know, once again bringing his name into this, but we brought in Tatum to talk about Skype with us. That was something really unique. But I would love to do some specials, kind of just talking about, you know, I mean, there's so much stuff to talk about in One Piece. Like anything we don't really get the chance to really dive into too much, I would love to do more specials by that. But I think it just all depends on what the fans want and their suggestions.
Yeah, I mean, no.
Yeah,
well, we will be doing the filler-ups.
Yes. The thing is,
it's going to happen.
Zach is reluctant. I want to talk about the off-piece art.
No, we will.
Because it's fun. Because, hey, One Piece is great, but it's not always fun talking about
filler.
Talking about it when just everything is just, you know, according to Keikaku, or everything's going splendidly. It's fun to throw in some chaos.
Is that what the Shichichi Bukai would say?
Shichichi Bukai.
It's like back when Firecrotch would do the news. It's like, so One Piece did really good in the ratings this week. I don't know. I'd kind of like to see it, you know, suck.
So if you want to see it suck, watch One Piece. But we're going to be doing the filler up segments. It's kind of just getting the will, and we kind of have to. I think we kind of have to go through it. Is the thing a little bit at least?
I would love
to. We'd have to watch it. Jesus.
Exactly. Which has been the problem.
Funnier if it was just us in a room. Just.
What about this? We'll do the filler up next time. We're all together, or some of us are together. We'll try and do it every time that happens. Yeah, like at a con.
We'll throw the Oppies con.
Exactly, and it'll be
them all to the Oppies con.
I think it definitely would be more fun if we were all actually in the same room and we weren't like, okay, let's sit down and do the filler up segment.
Yeah.
It might be a lot more, and it probably would be more enjoyable.
And to keep the segment going as long as possible.
Oh, I got one more thing still. Trust me, this will keep going for
any episode.
So the longest segment ever. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, there's a lot to talk about.
No, I agree.
And hey, if you don't like it, you know, you download the M4A, just skip it.
What? You could do that?
And if you listen to MP3, have fun scrolling on your iPod. Oh, damn it, they're still talking. No, any episode where we could get all of us in the room and record something is magical.
We Are on the Booze is the most recent of those.
Yeah, kind of technically. Well, we did record some stuff in Boston, but none of it as an episode.
Oh, we did.
You, Jose, and Doc did your little special about podcasting, which I listened to and enjoyed.
Meeting of the Minds, yeah.
I really enjoyed that. Like, first thing that comes to mind, Dallas. You had to be there to know how funny it was.
They kept mouthing what I say at the beginning.
Zach struggled to get that episode started because it got to the point Zach kept messing up, or I would say something stupid. And then at one point when Zach's doing the intro, you know, this is the
unofficial One Piece podcast episode.
I am lip syncing the entire thing Zach is saying, and Zach just exploded. He couldn't take it.
I had to close my eyes, I think.
Stuff I would want to do more is commentaries. And I know I've seen some fans
like Strong World
point out the Strong World commentary. Well, both of them, mainly more the newer one because that's the one I remember. Is a ton of fun.
Well, we'll definitely be doing Zed. We just have to figure out where, when, how. But it's going to happen because we have to do that.
And, like, you know, even if they're not movies, like, if you ever want us to, like, do a commentary for a specific episode, or, hey, we should maybe bring back, you know, retro Manga Chapter recaps.
I thought we were doing the Piece arc with a commentary style.
You should.
Really? You guys are going to talk hours about that?
No.
No.
Shut up, Jammer.
Just the first episode, and then I'll give up, or I'll fall asleep. I think the test will be, will Steve fall asleep?
How long can we talk about
like watching it like late at night, like at 10 p.m.? I mean watching it the daylight.
Steve, what it'll end up becoming is us talking about nothing all night. Like, we'll just be making... if it's Dude, you and me, and Ed... we're gone. That's it.
It's just a bad combination.
Very bad combo.
Or off-topicness. I think Jammer still had something he wanted to say.
Yeah, Jammer, I'm sorry.
I did. I just actually remembered this. Good. I can't believe I forgot about this. The Jump Festa live stream from a couple years back.
I hate you, Jammer. Shut up.
That was the one.
We were up until 6 a.m. I think I edited it until like 8 a.m. Again, I was fun employed, so any excuse.
And we went to the diner afterwards.
Oh yeah, you and me, we went to the diner.
The Jump Festa one, was that the one that we woke up 6 a.m. on Sunday?
Like 4 a.m.
Actually, I have no idea. Actually, I think I started out with something I thought about, and you guys went off on something else completely different.
We're thinking of the Jump Festa Zombie Cast.
The Zombie Cast. What are you referring to?
No, I'm referring to that live stream I did with Greg over the course of a few days.
Oh right, that was one of the ones when I was in law school. I guess that would have to be. I'm looking it up. But tell us about it, Jammer, since I wasn't there.
I just remember basically what happened.
It was cool though.
This was weird. Like, I don't even know if we'd ever do this again, but pretty much.
Probably not.
Greg was at Jump Festa, and we kind of had a live stream open on Ustream. I don't remember if it was Ustream.
Yeah.
And pretty much I would keep the lobby, I guess you can call it, entertained with music and random conversation. And then Greg would randomly pop in and go like, "Hey guys, I'm here at Jump Festa. We're gonna try to see if we can get the new opening." It was back before the time skip, I think.
I think it was Celebration, if I have to guess. I think it was that episode you probably discussed it.
Yeah, and that was just...
That's $1.99.
Didn't we do the same thing with him in Strong World?
We did a little bit
we
with
did
him
a little
at
bit.
Anime Fans Give Back, too.
We also did that. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. And, so another exclusive for people listening to this awesome segment we're giving gossip and stuff away from. Jose has the RAWs and everything from Anime Fans Give Back to Japan, because we have been trying to release that. And that is something that in the future he's going to be trying to put together.
And he released a few of the episodes.
And we have released the first 4. That is something we desperately want to get out there. But it's just so much. It's a lot. It's 24 hours worth of stuff. And OPP Japan, because of the Kickstarter stuff, obviously takes priority there. And also just the timeliness of it.
And also Jose's sanity.
So obviously... Jose is taking a long break after OPP Japan because he put that whole movie together basically himself. And with like Steven translating and obviously and Hush and Kadesh Flow and help from others, but he edited it himself. That'll be the next thing on the project board for those listening. Keep going though, Jump Festa.
We were just recording and he would pop in and talk about stuff, and I remember him trying to get. What was it? Trying to get inside, basically recording of them performing We Are or the new We Go or something.
I know what it was. One day, right? I think it was.
Maybe it was around that time.
Because it was right. It was after opening 12, right?
Yeah. So opening 12 was at the very beginning.
Opening
my
12
God.
contest.
That was fun.
Thank you for
make
finding
it better.
If you could go back, and we did have a YouTube contest of people like, hey, make it opening 12, make it better. Go back to the time when that opening came out, the first episode, where you get Greg's reaction to it. It is one of the genuine funniest things.
I remember the exact
he was so pissed.
comment. He said, what was it? It was like your ears are getting fucked by a ferret?
Squirrel, I think.
I think ferret. I think Jammer's right. Yeah, we'll find out.
I could have swore it was a squirrel. Greg will tweet about it to me probably at 4 a.m.
I said a ferret, you asshole.
I get my good graces from Greg. It's like I check my phone and I'm still waking up, and Greg's like, "Good job," and I'm like, "Yeah, all right."
I think Greg did that to me recently. It's like, wow, you got a lot more professional sounding. I guess all that OPP Japan stuff helps. Doing it over and over again. I'm like, thank you.
That's what being excited and ready is all about.
Shut up. No one gets that yet.
They will.
Very soon. Because I'm both excited and ready. Go ahead.
Just talking about the Jump Fest. Are you still talking about the Jump Fest stuff?
Who knows?
I don't know. I think I'm pretty much done.
Okay.
You can move on.
I just remember the zombie cast. That was us waking up it was not 4 a.m. I think it was
5. It was as the sun was rising.
It was daylight.
It was as the sun was rising.
To get up with Greg and talk about all of the juicy news that Oda revealed at Jump Festa, because Oda used to be known for revealing something big at every Jump Festa. I remember that not really happening that year, and it was one of the only podcasts that I had everything set up at my desk, got up, lay down in my bed, facing my computer.
I love this.
Fell asleep during recording. And I got sick. I definitely got sick.
I think we all got sick. I think I got sick too.
I think this was a combination of the weather and just waking up that early.
Because it was in December, I think.
Yeah. Just going to bed late, waking up that early.
Yeah.
Ugh, it was a mistake.
Yeah, that was a... I mean, I've gotten sick from podcast episodes, without a doubt. I've sacrificed my body and my soul.
You can probably hear me in
Strongcast?
the background shivering during the Strongcast. That was me.
Ed was not doing well.
I had
during
like the flu
Strongcast.
during that.
I'm like, Ed, let's record. And he's like, die, you ass.
I'm so cold.
Yeah, and that was. I got lucky. I don't think I got that sickness from you.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
Yeah, because that put you out of commission for like. Well, I was gonna say for like 6 episodes, but we did 6 episodes in a week. So.
Oh, we used to do 2 episodes a week.
I can't believe that. It's so
Wait.
difficult to do.
People thought we
one.
were actually going to stream Strong.
That was great. I remember that. Strong World, man.
We're having a streaming party, and like basically, for people to talk about One Piece, and people are thinking like we're going to stream this movie that's premiering in theaters in Japan that same day. I'm like, did you really think that was going to happen? Has the internet really conditioned you that much?
That explains why we had so many people watching.
I'm still waiting for these guys to stop talking.
Why are they just talking the whole time? This guy in Japan's telling me about the movie. Shut up! I want to watch it. Yeah. Any other? I don't know what that was.
That's kind of all. That's a condensed version of the One Piece podcast.
Condensed in an hour. But I mean, the most important thing, and it's really what's kept us going and flourishing so much, is all the support from everyone listening. And I'm not just saying this as one of those things. It's like, thanks to viewers like you. No, it's seriously, I mean, going backwards in time, OPP Japan happened because of you guys. The Greg Razor also happened because of you guys, which Steve mentioned both of earlier, which both incredible feats of, I don't know, it's just amazing that both of those happened. Anime Fans Give Back to Japan. That was just such an unbelievable honor to be a part of. OpCon, again. I think we've talked about most of these because those are the highlights. Is when we
were on Japanese television.
I forgot about that. That did happen twice. Oh, Jammer, weren't you me once? You were me.
I remember you were trying to get me like, hey,
was
if you
during
can just
Sandy.
pretend like you're me, and I was like, this is kind of awkward because what was it that happened?
Oh, it was Hurricane Irene or Sandy,
Hurricane Irene was happening. He's like, hey, you could just pretend to be me. And I'm thinking, what if they start asking about Hurricane Irene?
That is messed up.
How is this so awkward?
I never knew that was going to happen. Really, Zach? I never heard that.
No, because I didn't have like real electricity. I was on Long Island at home, and there was no electricity, and I'm like, shit. Or it was like at 2 a.m, and there was a lot of shit going on, and there was a hurricane and stuff. So I'm like, Jammer, can you do this for me? Can you just log in on my account, pretend you're me, and go on this Japanese show for me? Which
I remember I was at my ex-girlfriend's, and I was like, hey, yeah, I'm gonna be waking up at 2 a.m. because I'm gonna be on television.
And yeah, it was Steve.
On television.
It was Steve. I think Alina James, Jammer, and several other like big names around the world in One Piece. And it was them on Skype, and they took a video of them on Skype. And and Steven was there too. And I think you hear Steven, and that's it. I don't think you hear anyone else say anything.
Yeah, like most of that interview was cut. Like I think I had one line in there.
Well, there were also 2, and we're kind of confusing them. We did one.
I
for
think they
Anime
almost got
Fans Give
offended
Back.
because they asked me when they asked me about what I thought about the whole Anime Fans Give Back thing, and the first thing I said was, well, when Zach brought it up to me, I said you're crazy. And they're like, it's like, you said you thought he was crazy. Why did you say that? I'm like, oh, not to sound
because
negative.
I hate Japanese people.
Yeah.
No, but would you?
Yeah, it's like, well, no, I'm not some sort of crazy racist. No, it's like, no, because it's like, you don't know my friend Zach. He is
a crazy person.
He wanted to do a Toonami podcast. No, it's like, I mean, lighthearted is like, you're nuts. It's like, how could we? Because like we did the One Piece podcast, like we did know some people in the industry, and not to the extent that it is today, but I was like, do you really think we could?
It's really
pull
a
something
miracle
like that?
we did,
and yeah, we pulled it off and then some. And
Yeah, like people were gonna say no.
Well,
but the amount of people that didn't say no was great.
and the second one, I mean, was even more incredible. But the thing is, I think we're mixing it up because we did Steve, you, me, and Ed, and maybe one other person did an interview for Anime Fans Give Back. But Jammer came on for the Hokotate thing, I think. Is
is that what we're talking about?
they're two different things, and because Greg was practicing trivia with like people on Skype. And
yep, that was the one I was in.
That's the one you were in. So there were two different ones. I was in the one with you, Steve, on the Anime Fans Get Back one, and I think they used sound clips from most of us, if not all of us, on that one. We could find that it exists somewhere.
I just want a screen cap of the collage they made at the end. Just them playing "We Are." It's like "We Are," and like I'm like, no. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's about the last 5 years in a nutshell.
Yeah.
I think we're probably missing some very important things that people are yelling at us. You forgot about that one thing with the guy. But next time, we'll. If you guys have questions,
Hey,
or
if we
wanna
missed
share
something
stuff,
you thought was pretty damn important, tweet it to us or email us, anything, because
hashtag it OPP 5 years. That's
I never appreciate more when people say like, oh, how could you have forgotten this? Like easily record one episode a week for 5 years.
It's so weird because it's kind of like a time capsule, and Ed was talking about this, and I have no memory of any of it, but it's me talking.
Have you
It's
thought
so
about
weird.
it? Like, when you guys die, this is going to be around
Oh, God.
possibly ever.
Why would you say that? Why would you say that?
Oh wow, I feel so much better now.
Like, next week when you guys are dead... I'm just kidding.
No.
Anyways, but you get the idea.
What is wrong
But
with you,
it's
Trevor?
kind of this... It is this cool time capsule, though, for, basically leaving your imprint on the internet forever until the internet becomes obsolete.
Or until our server crashes for good.
Come on, knock on wood. Knock on wood.
Knock on
Yep.
wood. So it's been a real pleasure doing it, and I think everyone here, I hope everyone here agrees that it's been a lot of fun doing this podcast over the last 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
No?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I agree. Yeah.
Debatable.
And I hope I really do mean it when I say I'd love to see it through to the end of the series.
And I can say from a listener's perspective, because that's mostly what I'm is just a listener. Like, I've listened to you guys forever, and even when I'm not on, like, I listen every single week. So it's awesome to listen to each week.
Thank you, Jammer. And if you guys have thoughts about the last 5 years, maybe next week we'll do next week or one of the next few weeks, we'll do a segment on it, and maybe read some thoughts from you guys and go through it a little bit more, because I'm sure we could talk about more stories and stuff. There's so many stories.
Pardon our self-indulgence.
I'm sure we could gossip a lot more too.
I don't know. I felt like we were just talking more about events and like, then this is what I did, and
Well, I mean, it's
if you have any questions, like
lenses.
if there's some mysteries about the podcast that you feel are unanswered, like, please ask us.
We have to leave the mysteries so people keep listening.
Whatever happened to that interview you said that was going to happen?
Oh, well, I'm sure there's a lot of those, because that happens. They fall through the cracks.
Like, there's one right now I have that we haven't used yet.
Oh, shit. Yeah, we should do that at some point. The Brina Palencia one that I've been promising.
That's the story of these podcasts.
Yeah, let's do that in the next few weeks.
We
soon.
promise things and then we forget.
No, we deliver a couple of times.
Yeah. Every now and then.
Sometimes
I'd
we
say
deliver
around-
more than we think.
I'd say around
Sometimes we
90%.
deliver, we did the Full Metal podcast,
Well, that was supposed to be a mini-series, which a lot of people didn't
because
catch.
there's nothing to talk about with Full Metal Alchemist anymore.
No, I really enjoyed it.
The next couple of years, people are asking us like, "Oh, how come you're not doing it anymore?" I'm like, "Because it's done. It's over."
Yeah.
Yeah, we got a lot of comments about that, but I mean, we said at the beginning when we started, it's going to probably be a miniseries, and we're planning on it being a miniseries.
With One Piece, it'll go on forever. So,
and we have a ton of stuff planned for you in the next coming months. Not
enjoy
going to
it.
say them here, but enjoy them. And OPP Japan, I want to say a date. Trust me, I want to say a date as much as you want to hear a date, and I'm probably annoying the hell out of just about everyone. So it's coming. It's coming. It's done. It is 100% done. But we're just waiting for that thumbs up. Hopefully not a thumbs down. Hopefully a thumbs up. So, yeah, I think that concludes everything for our 5-year. I keep trying to conclude it. Never does. But for our 5-year segment, why don't we get into the next part of the podcast? You guys ready?
all right.
I can't believe I ate the whole thing.
Wait, before we round this one off, let's say it together. We are Maji.
sexy.
This is the Piece Together segment where we take your questions, comments, theories, and then try and come up with an answer that you would be satisfied with, which, you know, it's tough, but we'll try. Okay, let's start with some emails. This first one comes from Noah Silva, who says, "Hey guys, in the past, we've been introduced to some characters with outlandish speech patterns," as Steven, I'm sure you're aware. And I was wondering, how long will it be until we see a One Piece character that speaks in Bushisms?
What the fuck?
See, I told you it was obscure. Yeah,
I don't know if Japan is aware of Bushisms.
Plus, it's
I don't think Matt Cohen is aware of Bushisms. What's a Bushism?
George W. Bush.
It's hard
Just
to
a
get food on your
George
family.
W. Bush speech pattern kind of thing? Okay.
I guess saying stupid things every now and then,
Yeah,
or just
I mean-
flubbing a sentence, and then just
with a
trying to correct
Texan
it.
accent.
You know,
Rarely is the question asked, is our children learning?
it's hard to
or-
get food on your family.
It's putting food on your family.
Working
exactly.
hard, and you're working hard to put food in your family.
The human being and fish can coexist peacefully. I think
It's funny because that reminds me of some graffiti I saw at my old middle school on one of the dugouts recently. It said, "This middle school is the most uneducated school ever." Maybe it sounds smarter than it actually does. But I think
Waiting for the punchline, I was like,
Did you go to this school, Steve?
yes.
What a
But
strange
I know
graffiti.
I know you wouldn't say most uneducated or most
Oh, I guess it's the least educated.
I don't
Least
I don't know.
educated. Most
Yeah.
uneducated might work. I don't know.
I
you
don't know.
guys.
That might work if you're talking.
How about I'll go back and I'll check.
Can you do that for us, Steve? We'll wait
I
for you.
will.
Keep us updated.
All right.
Well,
I'll bring it up.
I could re-ask the question: which current character do you think would have a Bush type speech pattern? Which might be a better question concerning like something we could answer.
Who's a big dummy?
Some of the celestial dragons.
No, actually, it's
anyone
it's
from
Wapol.
Kingdom.
Oh, Wapol.
Wapol.
Wobble.
would be a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, Wapol would be.
He's always saying dumb shit.
We're
Grown
gonna
up
get-
Stelly.
All of the Republican One Piece fans are going to get very angry at us. Liam Tasker asks, "Hey, One Piece podcast. Gin said that he would meet the Straw Hats again on the Grand Line. Do you think this will still happen? Maybe he is the seventh warlord.
People are still really
No, he's
clinging to the
dead.
Gin thing.
Yeah, he's a.
He has to
big
get in
conspiracy.
line.
Behind Kuro.
I doubt he lived more than an hour after that.
Bullshit. You know, it's after people getting blown up.
That's
in
just the
face with
optimist in me.
bombs.
That's all.
Oh no! He coughed up too much blood and Geen died. But no, no. But Conus' father survived. Just fine. Yeah.
He survived. I just don't think he's coming back anytime soon. Just like Kuro isn't coming back, even though I really did like Kuro, and I'm the only one on this podcast who did.
You really are.
At the time, I enjoyed those villains. Oda even designed. Remember the Don Krieg 3000?
I hated Don Krieg.
Well, Don Krieg is like, I'm the opposite of the main character. Well, then again, so is Kuro. Actually, every villain in East Blue is the opposite of Luffy. But I mean, he did kind of make some plans of possibly bringing back Don Krieg. So maybe, but
I think that was just his original design for Don Krieg, the Don Krieg 3000. Like
Really?
that was an
'Cause I thought-
addition for him. Like
because
it was his transformation.
I thought it was stated that he took that what he was thinking of and just incorporated it into Frankie's new design.
Maybe I don't remember.
Yeah, could be.
Maybe.
I don't know. Shut up.
I don't know.
That's exactly how Zach said. I don't know. Shut up.
It was implied. Sorry. Gary says, "Congrats on the 5th year anniversary. You guys do amazing work. Look forward to it." But the question: how much of the results of Luffy and Zoro's time skip training do you think we have seen already? I feel like the climax of this arc will be when we really get to see them be pushed and tap into the true extent of their training. Do you agree or disagree?
I agree with that. I agree that we'll see more. I don't think we'll see the full extent.
I mean, for instance, when has Zoro had a really challenging fight?
He hasn't. Luffy kind of has, but
Yeah, he had what? Hyozo? Fuck
and
that.
Don Shinjao though. I mean for Luffy.
I was talking about Zoro still.
Yeah. Luffy's had a few, but
yeah. So it's hard to say that we've really seen any major improvements. He's just been schooling people so far.
Any other thoughts? No.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thank you, Chandler.
Not particularly.
Skawall says, "Hey guys, I've recently been thinking that Shiki's flow powers now seem much less powerful compared to Fujitori's supposed gravity-related powers. I've also thought that Bellamy's powers have always kind of sucked, especially compared to Luffy's rubber powers." Wow, this guy's going through some philosophical devil fruit stuff here. I think Luffy can essentially do everything Bellamy could do and more. So, do you think there are other devil fruits that, when compared to another devil fruit, kind of suck?
I would like to answer. Oh, go ahead.
I would say, like, yeah, emphatically, but just based on the nature of superpowers in general. I mean, after the first, you start running out of cool stuff. Look at the X-Men. I mean,
yeah, that's true.
So yeah, I definitely think there are certainly better devil fruit users, but yeah, I mean, I think it will get saturated over time. I don't know that Oda's holding an ace in his pocket, the coolest power we've ever seen, and he wouldn't have
he couldn't hold ace in his pocket. Ace is now dead.
Never forget, you guys. But I just don't think he would have waited 20 years to show us something cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with that.
I think the human fruits always sucked.
I guess. But
what are the fucking odds that a non-human would eat that?
I have that brought over two questions for me. A, that would be pretty cool to see gravity fight float, as far as that thing goes. And B, what the hell happened to Bellamy?
Oh, you mean right now?
Right now.
Wouldn't gravity and floating just cancel each other out?
Yeah, what would happen? Would
it be like rubber and electricity?
One of them has to win, right? Otherwise,
we're at a stalemate. Yes,
gravity would win because
gun and shoots the other.
If gravity wins, it falls to the ground if they cancel each other out. But if it doesn't win, then it floats. In which case, Shiki wins.
Yeah, but gravity.
Yeah, I mean, the floating power can go any direction. Gravity only goes up and down.
No, but gravity isn't that the scientific force behind floating? Although floating, I guess, is what's defying gravity. I guess there's a philosophical argument there somewhere. Facebook questions. This one comes from David. I was thinking about the devil fruit Sabo ate. Ace's devil fruit. I think it was a fake one, he says. I mean, doesn't it seem a little too convenient that Doflamingo had the devil fruit as soon as Luffy teamed up with Law? Devil fruits can pop up anywhere. What are the chances that... it was found he found it out of all people in the world. It being also so if it were fake, it would also explain why he wouldn't care about putting it as a reward.
Well, we don't know that the only fake devil fruits we've been seeing are Zoan ones. And
that's true.
Also, I mean, Doflamingo is the most powerful broker in the underworld. If anyone could get it, it would probably be him.
Yeah. Also, if we are assuming that proximity to the person with the powers is what determines, where the fruit will reappear, as with Blackbeard and Whitebeard, Doflamingo was also at Marineford.
Yeah.
So he could have been there, close enough to Ace to get Ace's powers. Kind of as a backup after Whitebeard died or something.
We saw what happened with Smiley, so.
Right. With the fruit on the sled.
Next Facebook one. I have a theory about how Pika could potentially be defeated in his new giant form. The Smile Factory is a large bullet-shaped mass of sea stone that's been conveniently raised to the surface of the island. So maybe it could be launched into Pika once Frankie finishes destroying it, or maybe Fujitora could use his powers to launch it if he deems Pika to be too much of a threat to civilians, which hasn't seemed to bother him so far. It seems like the perfect weapon to use against a giant devil fruit user.
I have a question. Does Law still have his Sea Prism handcuffs on?
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't that be fun if they just threw him at him?
Just the handcuffs? He just throws it at him?
No, Law. They throw Law at him, and he just touches him with them.
Oh. Did that work? Is that enough?
It would weaken him.
I mean, Law can't use his powers right now, so I don't think he's going to go for that.
Well, it's not what he goes for.
Yeah.
If he gets thrown,
It's not about what he wants. It's about what's going to benefit everyone.
Law right now is laying on the back of a cow, staring up at the sky. I don't know. I don't know how much control he
And at that moment, Trafalgar Law just began to rethink all the decisions he's made.
Get the Fred Savage voiceover. The Wonder Years.
I just imagine like they throw him at him.
It would
and
be a
then
Daniel Stern voiceover, actually, but let's not fight about it.
Mid throw, we get the flashback to him and Doflamingo.
Okay.
That would be nice. That would be a good segue.
Let's see what we got next. Let's go to this segment. Ed, I forget what it's called.
Zach, it's called Peace the Tweet. Yeah.
Wow, it's been forever.
It sounds weird when he does it.
This is Peace the Tweet. We take your Twitter questions, comments, theories, all that. Let us start with Milos, the creator. Unless, Ed, did you want to go through
The
them?
Sacred Star.
No, you can do it.
Okay.
I'm in no way prepared for this.
Okay, great. How has the time skip affected your enjoyment of the series since it has happened?
Can I go first?
A lot less than law school has affected my enjoyment of the series.
Steve, apparently, no. But yeah, you can.
Yeah, you
No,
can go.
I didn't say no. I said, could I go first?
No, I meant because Ed
Zach
went
was like,
first.
Zach's like, Steve says no, moving on.
No, that's up. You messed my joke up, Steve.
I know.
It was a terrible joke.
How does
You
it
messed
feel,
it up.
Zach? How does it feel?
Feels pretty okay. I really have no opinions about it.
Honestly, it doesn't. It still feels like One Piece. I think at the time when the time skip was coming up, we were all fearing like, oh, well, not fearing, but I think everyone was kind of thinking, oh, so this is when One Piece gets all crazy badass. It's still One Piece. It's still
it luckily never went to One Piece Z.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Yeah,
a lot of people were thinking, oh, now it's going to be no more bullshit. It's all crazy action and fighting. No, it's One Piece. It's just 2 years later.
Honestly, in my opinion, the only thing that's really been affected by the time change is, I guess, Usopp's character has changed a bit, just in terms of physical appearance and kind of demeanor. And the girl's got bigger boobs, but other than that, like,
Oops, Biggie for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like people are busting out powers they hadn't had before.
No, I feel like Usopp got deflated. I don't think he's as buff anymore.
yeah, that's right. They kind of dropped it. Sanji
slowly reverted back.
Yeah.
And Frankie's arms have slowly gotten smaller.
Usopp's been depushed.
And Chopper's just been disappeared from the series entirely.
Good point,
One thing I do notice is kind of the lack of pairings and fights. That doesn't really happen anymore.
Yeah.
That's a good thing, I think.
I agree. I like what they're doing.
I don't know. I could argue that. Like, it's nice for pacing, but sometimes you want to see some unique fights.
I'd like to see some of the other characters fight.
Yeah, like we don't. Yeah. That's the thing.
Have we really seen
Zoro fight?
I'd like a check in with Brooke every once in a while. I guess once every 4 years might be nice or something.
I've never been a big fan of fighting in manga too much. I just like the story, and so we're getting less fights and more story. I'm always a fan of that.
I see.
I think I'm alone there on that one.
You have to somehow find a good way to balance it out.
I agree with that. Yeah. I like fights. Like, this was kind of a fight chapter. Well, it ended up into a fight chapter, and I liked the fighting elements of it. It was fun, but yeah, I think it's the balance. Next question is from Miguel, who says, "Okay, so we now have all of the faithful god Usopp followers. So do you think we'll get to see combo fights?" This is a good transition from the last question. Like, who do you think's going to fight who? What do you think's going to... Predictions?
I think there are too many characters for us to have like even combination. Like, I think this is basically what we saw this week is kind of what we're going to get. Like, it'll be it's just everybody going at it.
It feels more like an all-out war to me than a one-on-one kind of situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially because you've got so many different forces now working together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's basically going to be like the whole oars fight, except with not straw hats.
Yeah.
I agree. Andy says, one of my favorite times on the podcast, I think talking about the 5-year stuff, was the Strongcast series, especially Platinum, since we could all experience it. I am definitely looking forward to recapping Film Z when that comes out in September.
Absolutely.
Zeto.
Okay, next, Ash says, we know Law's cuffs won't come off by themselves, but who had the key again? And maybe Doflamingo left it in the rubble of the castle.
Didn't he cut them up?
Yeah.
No, that was the key to the... You're thinking of the key to the, what do you call it? The factory.
Oh, okay.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
I hope they don't find it in the rubble.
I thought Luffy still has the key, for some reason. Because he keeps asking him to take off the handcuffs, and he's like, later. We'll do it later.
I like the concept of Luffy just holding Law captive now to be his new crewmate.
We're going to be crewmates.
Yeah. We cut till 8 years later. Law still got the handcuffs on. He just cries himself to sleep every night.
He's giving him the misery treatment.
That got
exactly.
dark quick.
Meanwhile, Beppo's mutinied over on the submarine, and he's now running the pirates.
He said, where is he hanging out? He's hanging out in Zoe, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I just had this visual of Luffy breaking Law's ankles.
This got really dark. Ash also has a question, and this is more inside baseball, to use Jammer's term, and probably more for Steve. What happened in that game of Mario Kart you promised Tatum? Did it ever happen?
We did try it.
Yeah, we did.
That was at ASEN. That was in Chicago 4 years ago. Wow. Yeah, we told the story on the podcast, but unless you really want to dig deep, what happened?
I'm already.
We tried hooking up to the TV, but I think some hotels will block out, outside cords like HDMI and all that stuff, and we couldn't figure it out. And at one point, we called the front desk for was a repairman? I don't know.
That was it. Oh yeah. Oh, I forgot about this. Yeah.
we tried to explain the situation. Of course,
it was this old Russian guy, dude, comes up to the room and he's like, I do not know what this is.
He's like, hi, yeah, we're trying to just look at him. I came to this country and this is what I work.
when the PS3 first got released, I had to go on a family vacation almost immediately. So I brought the unopened box with me because it was like Final Fantasy X or 11 or something I needed to play immediately. And I had the same problem at the hotel where the HDMI wouldn't hook up. So for 2 hours, I had this guy trying to hook up my PS3 for me. I don't remember if we got there, but it was definitely one of the more fun experiences. I need one of those... what are those called? Like the clam cases? The briefcases with the screens in them? I know Xbox does that, yeah.
I guess they're plausible. I guess those would exist.
Steve's like, I don't know what they are.
Yes,
they sound like they definitely
do exist. Yeah. No. Yeah, they're literally it's a briefcase. The console's in one half, and there's a screen on the other. You just open it up and you play, basically.
Yeah, I had one for my GameCube back in the day.
Yeah, didn't GameCube have one you just attached to the top?
That's what he's talking about.
Yes. Okay. I'm sorry. That was 10 years ago. I'm sorry. I you're gonna ask me. Hey, remember when you could attach a light to your Game Boy Advance?
Oh yeah.
I also had
a magnifying glass.
Yes.
Yeah, boys.
God.
And a Game Genie for the original Game Boy with a very, very tiny Game Genie instruction booklet that you needed a magnifying glass to read.
Does Pelican still exist? Because we're doing them a freaking favor right now.
Now we have name.
You guys got new sponsors, man. Just need a time machine. You just need a time machine.
Good, because no one's buying these lights for the Nintendo 3DS. But back to the Mario Kart thing. I think we actually played Mario Kart at Otakon, but it was just us.
I think Tatum was there. Yeah. Oh yeah, we did. You're right. We did do that.
Out there, and me and Jason were destroying you guys. But
thanks.
This Friday, I will be getting a Wii U, and I will be getting Mario Kart 8.
So now's the time.
Maybe now's the time. Now's the time to
maybe AWA.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows? And we'll get Jose to film it.
And speaking of video game challenges, if any other American people were dumb enough to buy J-World Versus, I'm online, and if they want to explain to me how to play it, please let me know.
So I'm trying to figure out what kind of game it is.
Or Japanese people who speak English.
Exactly. I'm 20 hours in, and I think I'm playing it. I'm not sure.
Oh, my God. Thank God that Romance Dawn, the One Piece game, is out in English. Because God forbid,
I know.
God forbid, I really didn't play much of that game, but I played the first episode, which is just stills of characters reciting dialogue from the fourth episode of Jesus Christ, do we have to know all this stuff? Let's play the freaking game. The entire page is just those quote cutscenes.
It's 45 minutes worth of just character faces popping up.
Zach, I was playing at your apartment. You could have just seen the disdain on my face.
I did. I remember.
So J-World Versus is that, but in Japanese. So you can see how fun it is on my end. Yeah.
We have, I think, 2 more questions left. Alex says, with this makeshift army after the same guy, how do you think Luffy will give them the slip to take down Doflamingo himself?
It'll just naturally happen. They'll get caught up in different fights.
Thank you, Captain Boring Answer.
Yeah, really.
Here's another question. Do you think Luffy takes down Doflamingo solo?
I don't know.
That's his MO. I mean,
It is his MO. That's the thing he does.
But I mean, just in terms of the series escalating, this seems to be a bigger threat than anything he's kind of faced before. Do you think it's going to come down to just Luffy versus him?
Well, regardless,
it would be a definite change in the series if it did.
Over like Riku being involved or like some of the Tantata or whatever, because they have a little more history with the guy.
I mean, it's definitely been a group.
I think it could be Luffy and Law, because Law has, this huge score to settle with Doflamingo, and unlike, other characters that have sort of been allies for an arc, like say Vivi or whoever, he's like an actual badass who is like one of the toughest guys we've seen. So it seems like Oda could probably fit him in there as being a sort of a team up thing.
That would be cool.
Yeah,
I think either way, Luffy and maybe Law as well have to get the blame because Kaido is coming next,
right
on the horizon.
Yeah.
Last question here: Vidula Sykes, something like that. Sykes.
Vidula oblongata.
Damn it! I was going to say that.
It's okay. We could say it together.
On 3, boys.
1, 2,
3.
Vidula oblongata.
That was terrible, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, you try fucking doing it.
I do it every week.
You remember April
lag.
Fools when we tried singing the Monorail song? Yeah, that worked out splendidly.
Maji.
No, you're too early.
I get that a lot.
Have you guys? Oh God.
Oh, jeez.
Have you guys considered the possibility that the Marimaro no Mi, the flame fruit, that Sabo ate was a smile? Okay, this is the exact same question.
Yeah.
People keep asking us the same question.
Here's the thing.
Get mad at
It might be the same person.
Get mad at him for
not
not staying in
mad.
tune with every other fan.
How
Hey,
do
did
they
you
not
ask this
know?
question? Because I was going to ask this question.
Hey, but actually, I have a question. I'm not sure if I'm just stupid, but I noticed in the recent anime episodes that they called it the flare fruit instead of the flame fruit.
That's the anime's translation.
Is not the translation in the dub though, right? It's flame in the dub.
It's been a while since I've watched those Ace episodes, so
I'll just say yes. It's actually flame. I should just answer it. Yes, it's flame in the dub.
Oh, okay. So
I don't
you're
know why
not
I asked
sure.
that question. No, I am sure.
It's like
that...
me. Oh, I've heard. I know what you're talking about. Though I don't.
Yeah,
I was like, I'm not sure if they call it that. So yeah, they called it that.
I definitely.
I was
think
asking for confirmation.
The script, like supervision between the dub and the sub are definitely different groups, and they're not necessarily tied to one another. So yeah, that could be the possibility that they're just
I feel like
different.
when 4Kids were doing the dub,
Yo.
Yow. I did find a new nickname for the 4Kids era.
What?
What's that?
The Void Century. No, it seemed like they were taking lines from the manga, like Viz with Sanji with the whole fly and the bowl, and Viz was like, "Oh, I think it's doing the backstroke." 4Kids did the exact same line. Probably like, all right, we need our crackpot translating team on this episode stat. All right, I just got to read this volume.
Hey guys, whoever wrote that rap for us, could you translate the latest issue also, please?
Although I did notice someone get called a shithead in one of the recent subtitles.
You weren't on the anime recap. The latest episode, Sai said like,
Shut the fuck up. Yeah.
Wow. They're very coarse, those guys.
Yeah, those Kano Kuni Kingdom people, whatever. Kano Kingdom. Okay, so I think that. And any other final thoughts with anything? Anything people need to get off their chest?
It's all pieced together.
Yeah, I think that's all the piece together we got. Why don't we round off the podcast? Ready?
Okay.
Okay. This has been episode 319 for Monday, May 26th, 2014. Next week, we will have Joey Weiser, author of Merman, on the podcast. It's going to be a lot of fun. He's going to be going through the manga with us, much like Matt did this week. Which, by the way, thank you, Matt, for coming on the show.
Oh, no worries. Thanks again for having me, guys. It's fun as always.
So if people didn't tune into the beginning and only tuned into the end, what's going on with you? What do you have coming up?
I'm going to Japan. Excited about that. Podcasting, as always, bagged and boarded over at the SModcast Network, and I'm about to start a new show called The Wayback Pod, which you can check out on SoundCloud and iTunes right now under Wayback Pod. And you can just follow me on Twitter at CamelToad, CamelToad, you perverts. And that's about it. Enjoying One Piece.
Good. It's always good to hear. So we are continuing our 5th anniversary specials. I think we'll be doing something during the summer too to kind of celebrate. We'll see how that goes. And we'll be doing a lot of special stuff throughout the year, and we'll have a special episode out this Saturday as well. We will be, as we mentioned earlier, at Anime Expo, and I think almost everyone here except Ed and myself will be there, unless I figure something out somehow. Ed will definitely not be there. I could confirm that.
Yes.
Ed, it's nice to have you back, though, for this
Well, don't get used to it.
You're heading, like, straight into the bar stuff right now, right?
I was straight into that last week.
Okay.
Damn.
But congratulations on graduating.
I had no days off.
Oh, like lawyer bar stuff, not
Yeah.
like alcoholic bar stuff. Okay.
It could be both if you're able to handle that.
Thanks.
After you do the other bar stuff, it's a good combo. So what else is happening? Jammer, what's going on with you?
Dominic and I have been we've been on an epic hiatus.
It's been pretty epic.
Since like November, we've been going Tagashi style and not releasing jack shit for the past several months. I'm hoping to maybe someday get back to that. We'll see what happens, but keep an ear out on Twitter, Animanga Podcast. That's the Twitter handle. I'm gonna try to start doing something, but life happens, right? Yeah,
I don't understand.
You're telling that to a person who's been celebrating their 5th anniversary and been releasing episodes weekly. For that
that's true.
And bi-weekly before that, when we were nuts.
Yeah.
Oh God. Dominic, how's it going with you?
Everything's going great, actually. I'm ready to record whenever he is.
Don't put this on me. You've been sitting on an episode for several months.
And you just said that you would do it for me, so now you took it off my shoulders.
That was 10 minutes ago.
Yep, and I'm holding you to it.
Steven, how's everything there? Anything happening?
Not a whole lot. I've been in the midst of my SPS quest of compiling all of the interactions between Sanji and Zoro, which is getting to its conclusion. So that's fun. I'll be able to turn that in, and just doing work.
Has Twitter helped at all with that quest?
Well, I didn't ask people for help, so I wanted to perform quality control of my own and all that. So, but yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at Translatosaurus if you like, and ask me questions, do whatever. It's a good time.
Steve, anything with you?
Well, currently I have a sale on my Store Envy at steveyurko.storeenvy.com. It's 20% off of everything. So, buy some prints, buy some buttons. If you don't see me at cons and you like my stuff, it's the perfect chance to get my stuff for cheaper than I would sell it to you normally. That's my pitch. And you can also follow me at steveyurko.tumblr.com and at steveyurko on Twitter.
I'll say quickly, you could follow me on Twitter at Zach_Logan. But Ed, how could the good people out there contact us as a podcast?
Well, Zach, they can contact us at OnePiecePodcast.com, Twitter.com, YouTube.com, and Facebook.com/OnePiecePodcast. OnePiecePodcast@gmail.com is our email address. We put funny pictures on OnePiecePodcast.tumblr.com. One Piece Podcast is our Skype name. You can also subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes or subscribe on the Stitcher Smart Radio app. You can also call us on our phone number. Zach?
Let's try and do this one in unison, guys. So 347-497-MAJI. That phone number again. Steve, you suck. That phone number again is 347-497-6254. Call anytime.
MAJI.
With your questions, comments, theories, suggestions for how we could get this right next time. One of these years we'll get it right. So for the One Piece Podcast, I want to thank you all for listening again this week and every week. My name is Zach.
My name is Ed.
And my name is Steve.
We'll see you next week, everyone. Goodbye.
Adios.
You.
This has been the unofficial One Piece Podcast, episode 319 for Monday, May 26, 2014. Next week, we're going to have, next week or the following week, we're going to have special, oh no, I actually confirmed it. Bloopers! Okay.
Don't cut this out, man. This is gold.
I know.